giving you the real surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with your host, Skywalker Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to the Skywalker Morning Show, streaming live on YouTube and for the first time on X. I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! What's happening, people? What's happening? Coming up today, we are kicking off the draft series, one of my favorite series during the offseason. I've got a 5-star rating for 3 categories, and we're starting the first round pick, Tyler Booker, baby. King Booker. We're going to figure it out. Plus, in the roundup, we do have some house cleaning to do. The Cowboys made some moves to get to the 90-man roster heading into rookie minicamp, I believe, starting tomorrow this weekend. So we've got a jam-packed show today. Like I said, one of my favorite parts of the offseason is post-draft, because we finally can stop talking about 500 prospects and we can focus on the ones the Cowboys did take and dive into them. So when I say deep dive, we're going to look at the background. We're going to dive into their value, their long-term outlook, their year one impact, and take a look at some film. It's a pretty cool and fun breakdown. Plus, I want to hear from y'all, man. Call into the show. 351-999-3787 is the call-in line right there. And we got somebody already on the horn. You got to hold your horses. You got to hold your horses. We will get to you here in a second, but let us kind of get through all this. But good morning, Cowboys Nation. Good one today. Make sure y'all lock in for this. Share it. Get this out to your Cowboys friends and family. And let me know, how you're feeling. You see it right there. Cowboys draft. How are we feeling? And let me just say this real quick before we get into everything. Here are the overall picks, by the way. Okay. Booker, round 1. Donovan Ezeraku, round 2. Savon Ravel in round 3. Jayden Blue in the 5th round. Shamar James in the 5th round. Ajani Cornelius in the 6th. Jay Toya in the 7th. Phil Mafa in the 7th. And Tommy Aking-Besote out of Maryland. Overall, Cowboys Nation, how are you feeling? I think the draft in general, just separating it from the offseason, the actual draft, was a damn good draft. It was a damn good draft. I'm just keeping it a beat. I've talked to many of my cohorts, right? And we've had this discussion of, hey, the draft by itself was really, really good. If you look at value, if you look at them, picking best player available. I know, and we'll talk about this throughout the show probably and throughout the weeks. They did not address the wide receiver 2 position, something I wanted them to do, something that I hope they do lean into. They didn't take a kind of thoroughbred workhorse running back early in the draft, but they did do what I thought could be the alternative. They took 2 running backs, doubled up, and they took 2 backs that complemented each other, which honestly, does show that I think this new staff has some say in how they want to do some things, because I don't know that the Cowboys would have done that in years past. In fact, they didn't do that over the last number of years in regards to the draft. So they didn't even take a running back until they took Deuce Vaughn, and we started to look at that as a pity pick. I'm just keeping it to me as a pity pick. So night 1 was interesting. I already saw y'all come in the chat and get on my guy Foots. By the way, shouts out to everybody that held it down this draft season. Foots, the King, and Zach from Double Move obviously joined me on the draft show for night 1. They've been doing phenomenal work. Vosh Lombardi, the MVP of our community, in my opinion, during this whole ordeal in the offseason. And obviously he's climbing new heights. Talk to him every day, every week. That's my brother for real. Tuck continues to be the wizard, as he calls himself. right? So, I mean, just a lot of people just holding it down in the draft for me. So shouts out to you guys putting in the phenomenal work. With that said, oh, I forgot. Yeah, we do have the super chats back up. Shouts out to B Bird dropping the dub in the super chat. Appreciate you.
Super chat.
He says, what a Sky morning show. Yes, indeed. We got one, baby. We got one. All right, let's get into this house cleaning real quick, and then we'll jump into our ratings and talk to you guys about this dog right here. Tyler freaking Booker.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time. It's time.
It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. It's been a lot going on post-draft in regards to just rumors and things, right? Wide receiver 2, Amari Cooper, and all of that. It's fun. It's fun to talk about. But the Cowboys actually did something yesterday to get under or at the 90-man roster limit that they have to be at heading into rookie minicamp, and they waived 4 players. This is from their website. On Wednesday, the team waived running back Malik Davis, offensive guard Jack Anderson, which he was on the team, linebacker Brock Mogensen, and offensive tackle Earl Bostic Jr. I remember y'all was trying to tell me Mr. Boombastic was going to be. It is what it is. But after taking multiple backs in the draft, right? Not a surprise Malik Davis gets waived. After taking multiple offensive linemen in the draft, not really a surprise that they waive a couple offensive linemen. And then they took the linebacker out of Florida mid-draft. I'm not surprised they waived Brock Mogensen. So I think all of these were expected, maybe different names, but the positions do not shock me here. I did see some people thought maybe they would waive some wide receivers. Mother for what? They didn't draft none. They need all the bodies they can get right now to figure that thing out, opposite of CD Lamb. The team site said additionally, the team utilized the league's international exemption for defensive tackle Denzel Daxon. And if you're familiar with the show, apparently I was hyping up Denzel too damn much. I don't know. I was hyping him up too much last year. It's a joke. Of course I wasn't. Which allows them to carry an extra player on the roster. The Cowboys utilized the same exemption for Daxton last season. Again, not a surprise here because the Cowboys need to find an answer at defensive tackle. Again, opposite of Osa Odighizuwa, who they just paid a big bag to, rightfully so. I think he deserved it. He deserved getting that money. But they need to find the answer next to him. And I think they might have. When we get to Jay Toya, I mean, I might skip the line. Rating the draft a little bit earlier for him, man. I'm really excited about that pick. One of my favorite of the draft. But I'll just say this. 58 better watch his back. 58 better find that love of the game real quick. Because we finally got one of those Samoans, Tongans, trash can full of dirt, one text. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me slow down. I'm just saying. DMV, we got a bloodline. We got a bloodline, baby. Let me throw my ones up real quick, man. Shouts out to my wrestling fans. By the way, audio good. Audio good. We straight. All right, great. Speaking of wrestling, if you guys saw my Twitter post, I kind of dubbed Tyler Booker and Tyler Smith the Harlem Heat of the Cowboys offensive line. The Cowboys love their Tylers, man. And if they, the Harlem Heat, then,
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
I want to say NFC East defensive lines, we coming for you. Really hard to say with my chest right now, though. It's really hard to say with my chest, especially when 2 of the NFC East teams have represented the NFC in the NFC Championship game. So I'll just let.
Hulk Hogan, we
Now, if you notice, Tyler Guyton's right there, but if you know whose head he's on, I'm going to just leave it at that. Tyler Guyton has some work to do. He's got some work to do. That's all I'm saying. Let's get back to it, though. Let's jump into this thing and start to discuss our guy, Tyler Booker, who, very interesting selection. And we'll talk about it here, but the reaction to the selection I thought was about as is. I thought that's how it would play out. The Cowboys took a safer pick here. They pretty much took what they've done over the years. An offensive lineman wasn't an exciting pick, wasn't a sexy pick, but this player I think will work out for the Cowboys, and we're going to get into why. But first, let's give old Tyler Booker a call.
Hey, Tyler, this is Will, not Will McClay, but I'll put you on the horn with him.
Hello?
Mr. Booker?
Yes, sir.
Got somebody who wants to talk to you. Hold on.
Who is it?
Hey, this is Jerry Jones with the Cowboys. We're turning you in.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, boy. We're glad to have you as a Cowboy.
Hey, Jerry Jones said, congratulations, boy. Hey, Jerry, let me find out, man. You hanging around Philly folk. You hanging around the East Coast somewhere. What up, boy? Did y'all peep that? Congratulations, boy. He a boy, though. Tyler Booker, the first selection in the Cowboys 2025 NFL draft, pick 12, by the way. So we're talking about a premium pick. They usually don't miss here in those selections. A few here and there, but not often. Under one Will McClay. Let's get to know Tyler Booker just a little bit here. In high school, Book won a national championship at the IMG Academy. In fact, next to his teammate at Alabama, or future teammate, J.C. Latham, to just big. One was a tackle. I think Booker might even play tackle in high school, if I read that correctly. Didn't get a chance to obviously follow his high school career, but when diving into his background, he played a little at, I think, left and right tackle. So, and when we get to it, you'll see sometimes some of those tackle feet in his pass blocking, which is why I had to highlight this statistic here. Over 1,000 pass pro snaps, and he only gave up 2 sacks and 7 quarterback hits in his 3 years playing significant time at Alabama. Phenomenal pass blocker. We're going to get into that when we break down his actual play. But this quote, I think, was the best quote of the entire draft process here. He said, it's legal assault out there, and I love football because the brand of football that I play, I make guys not love football anymore. God. I do that every down by just giving it my all and letting them know I'm not gonna let up. The thing I love most about football is taking the love away from other people. I usually don't let talk move me in that way. But it's not just talk with Tyler Booker. His film, his tape, he backs it up. He brings that nasty mentality and that physicality on the field. This is what Will McClay had to say about Booker. He said, quote, our grades on Booker are very similar with what we had to Zach. That was McClay's real first year, if you guys remember, kind of running the draft a bit there. And he said, and then some of the character traits, there's a lot of things that are very similar. He's his own individual, but he's a grown ass man like Zach. So you put someone in there that makes a stronger, more physical team, that makes us a stronger, more physical team. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's exactly what he does. Now, when he was taken, if you guys go back and look at the draft show in round 1, those are my thoughts before they even said anything in the post-draft presser. Was I'd have to imagine they're viewing him in the same way they viewed Zach Martin when they took him, I want to say, in the top 20. I think Zach was 16, something like that. So I actually took him a little higher than Zach. But when you're taking a guard, I think in that 15 plus range, right? So 15, 16 or 15 to, 10 to 15, you're looking at him as a stalwart. You're looking at him as a future cornerstone type of player on your offensive line. And do I think he was graded higher than Zach Martin coming out? Absolutely not. No. But the way this draft fell, that's just the kind of where it went. And we talked about this on the draft show leading up to the draft. After about those, 5 to 8 guys, everybody was pretty much touching tags. The stacks was very, very close, and it would come down to how the Cowboys felt about the rest of those positions. And they moved differently, I think, post taking Tyler Booker, more differently than I expected them to move, but they still got really good players. And we'll get into all that throughout this entire process. But I think they got one in Tyler Booker in regards to being a dog, being a leader, all the character traits, plus the talent. But it's those character traits that, for me, give it a little bit of a boost when it comes to value. So let's get into our star ratings right now, and you guys can participate. I'll take a look at the chat. We'll get your star ratings. It's 1 through 5. We rate these categories 1 through 5. And for the first one, for me, when it comes to the value of the pick, again, because of that character trait, his mental fortitude that I think he showcases, it definitely helped here. And I gave it a 3. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a 2.5. It was a 2.5 first. And then I just couldn't escape, in my opinion, just how much the kind of mental aspect of his game, the will he plays with, the character he is on and off the field plays into it. Now listen, a guard at 12 is a bit rich, okay? No matter how you slice it. I don't care if you love the pick. I don't care if you're side-eyeing the pick. Taking an interior offensive lineman this high is a premium move, and that's just facts. That's just facts of the matter. So you do, when you're talking about value, that's what we're talking about here. There is that to take into consideration. Especially, I think, when you consider that Booker's most valuable if he's maximizing a specific scheme. I also think that is true. Right? Like, can he operate in other systems? Yes, I believe that 100%. But I feel like we want to get that all pro, at least early on. When I say early on, I mean year one, just early in his career. Yeah, you got to kind of tailor what you do to his strengths. And that's pretty much how it is for a majority of non-blue chip picks, right? Like, if you're not one of those 5-6 guys, you're in this draft specifically, you're probably going to have to do that anyway. But again, that character piece matters for me. It matters. And he checks the box, man. He checks every single last one of them. You're talking about a tone setter. You're talking about a future locker room leader. I don't think just on the offensive line, but for the entire team, So I do think that bumped it up for me to a 3. Just kind of ignoring the actual positional value, even though can't ignore it too much. That's what we're talking about here, right? The value of the pick. But let's be real, man. With this one here, I think the Cowboys might be getting back to their normal batting average in the first round, right? Like, Book is not Guyton, all those damn Tylers. Last year, where the Cowboys took Tyler Guyton, you can go back, you can look at the reactions there. It was actually reversed, which was pretty funny for the cast and the panel. Tyler Guyton was the 7th offensive lineman, offensive tackle selected in last year's draft. There was obviously a future looking at Tyler Guyton. There was hey man, this is a project, right? He was very inexperienced. He only played 13 games. You were betting on traits. You were betting on upside. You were betting on athleticism. Almost the exact opposite of what you're doing here with Tyler Booker, right? Low floor for Tyler Guyton, high floor for Tyler Booker. High ceiling, I use quotes, for Tyler Guyton because of the athleticism traits, but also high ceiling for Booker because he combines, in my opinion, the talent with the characteristics. But you're getting a powerful, polished guard, I think, who was the best pure guard in this draft. So, you look here, I think he was a top guard on most boards. So it's really hard to knock the value all the way down. but I'm not going to overvalue it because we are talking about that specific category, right? Taking a guard inside the top 15 is rich. That's just the facts of the matter. So I landed on 3 stars. I do think for what this front office likes to do, it is a smart investment on their end. They're investing in what they know they'll hit on, right? This will be the 6th offensive lineman they've selected in the first rounds since 2011, right? 6 of them. 4 of the 5, because we're not going to count Booker right now, have hit. 4 of the 5 have hit. 4 of the 5 have been all pros. We'll see if Tyler Guyton can, elevate, or Tyler Smith can elevate to that Hall of Fame status like the other 3 before him. But it's hard for the Cowboys to look at the way the board was probably stacked and say, we can step outside of our comfort zone and take a more valuable position, or we can take the guy that we know when we select this high, when we select in that top 20, that top 15-ish area, and there's an offensive lineman on our board that's pretty high, we don't miss. And that's what they did. But I think three's fair. I think it's fair. Cowboys Nation, where do you land from a value standpoint when it comes to the selection of Tyler Guyton in the first round? Hey, Oscar, I forgot you a Bama fan, man. Hey, bring your bias. That's fine, brother. That's your squad, What's up, Khalil? Let's see here. The players are 5-star. The value I can see 3. Okay, that's an interesting way to look at it. Shouts out to Boss Cowboy in the chat. He said 5 for me. A Brian Fit, sure. Pick, not the player. I say 3.5. 3.5. I think 3.5 seems fair. 5 for Joe. 3. Yeah. If we're giving half stars, because I was giving half, I was about to go 2.5 because of the positional value, but I bumped it up because of the actual player and the characteristics of it. I just had to bump it up here. Appreciate you, MVP. Leon said it's rich as AF. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's rich, but I'm not going to, and this is what I said. Let me say this real quick too, because the draft's over, but there's still some lingering effects from it. When you go into this process, try to separate the player from your emotions of who you wanted or what have you. And I was trying to talk Foots off the ledge here, man, where he was getting upset at the player and kind of downing I thought the player plug and play. I think this is going to be one of the safest picks the Cowboys could have made here. It's no brainer to me. But I think we get upset because you might have wanted a receiver, you might have wanted a running back, you might have wanted whatever, right? One of the tight ends was still on the board. But you got to separate what you may have wanted from the actual player and how good the player is. Tyler Booker's good, man. Tyler Booker's real good. Ain't his fault the Cowboys took another offensive lineman. That's what he wanted. That's what they wanted to do, and they took a damn good one, in my opinion. But I think 3.5 is fair. Lee Headhunter has 4.5. Tino has 4. JL has 4. Nate Brown has 3.5. If we average this thing out, I think we'd be at about 3.5 or 3.75 because we're starting to see a couple 5s come in. Anthony G says 3. Nate says 5. 10-year starters worth it. Appreciate you, Bleeding Blue. We dropped 5 in the chat. Sadiqa dropped 10 in the chat. Thank you very much. Yep. Chris said exactly. It's rich. The Cowboys love investing in easy pick targets. That's what I'm saying. It's they know what works for them. They're not. I don't think they're wrong in taking Booker and expecting him to be a day one starter and a 10-year guy. I don't think they're wrong. It's just obviously that position. We've seen that position hit in many different type of rounds, but that was the highest guy on their board. Tino said Foots was saying he can't move slow feet. So, and we're going to get into that. I don't want to dive all the way into the breakdown. That's actually coming up next. But yeah, the athleticism part, there are concerns depending on how they decide to utilize him, but I don't think enough for me to diminish the player. He does too many other things very well. And yeah, he's not the most fleet of foot athlete. He's not the smoothest athlete, but he's an average athlete. I don't need him to be Tyler Smith or Tyron Smith. I don't need him to be that. Definitely if he's going to be playing in a phone booth. But I think the concern was initially bringing in Clayton Adams. Will the Cowboys be utilizing a lot more movement, and I mean wide movement, with this team. And in that case, yeah, Booker seems like a strange fit, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. It sounds like they're going to be utilizing him a lot more to his strengths. And what I said on the draft show, to the other guy's strength, right? Like BB is an average athlete too. That's not a knock. He's a big dude. Tyler Smith is a fantastic athlete, but if you go back and you watch Tyler Smith over the first few years, it wasn't like when they decided to do a lot of movement and pulling and things like that, unless he was doing some pin pulls and getting out super wide, but kind of that more congested pulling. It was real sloppy. It was real inconsistent. And I think that has a lot more to do with coaching because Tyler Smith can do it, right? I don't think Booker, from a technical standpoint, is an issue. He's not as fleet of foot. And that's what happened when you're 6'5", 325 and not that type of athlete. But I don't think it's enough to diminish the player. I don't. Let's take a couple calls and we'll get into the next rating category. Let's talk to our OG, the original B Bird. Good morning, brother. Thank you, bro. Let me bring you in here. Here we go.
Okay. Hey, so after the first pick, my son was off in college, and he called me back, and he was upset because he really wanted a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I can understand that because they had the team trenches and team weapons debate.
Yeah.
I kind of told him like this: hey, man, look, cookies are great, but beans and rice is what really, you know what I'm saying? That's really solid. That's really gonna fill you up. And so I told him that, we really got to work on the run game. I know we like a number 2 wide receiver, but my mindset is this, man, and I know this is going to go elementary, but ever since Little League, Pop Warner, if you could run the ball and stop the run, you're going to win. And we make this thing complicated. We get on the professional level and 4 wide, 5 outs, but 5 out, 5 wide outs and things of that sort. But it still comes down to if you can stop the run and run the ball. And so we have to be able to run the ball, and then we'll get to the wideouts later. You have to – the interior is where you have to start at. This football team needs to be constructed from the inside out. And I think, at the end of the day, it's not the sexiest pick, but it's the best pick they could have made, I think. And and because we're going to try to establish a run. One of the stats that I brought up a while ago, Scott, I don't know if you remember, I was talking about dome teams playing, having to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The dome teams that have gotten to the Super Bowl have played 16 games at home. So if the dome team has to go outside, they don't do well. The reason why is because
or a warm weather team, Miami.
What was that?
Or a warm weather team, like Miami struggled, when they had to go to the elements.
A warm weather team, absolutely, because they construct their team to how their home field is, right? If it's a dome or if it's a warm weather team, hey, we're gonna throw the ball around. But man, the playoffs are played in January, and you may have to go to Philadelphia, you may have to go to Washington, you may have to go to Green Bay. So why construct your team for the best case scenario where you're gonna have a home field advantage, where you can say, no, we may have to go on the road and win. If you go look at, I think in 2023, I was looking at the playoffs, and they only had 2 passers in the playoffs in 2020 season 2023 that threw for over 300 yards. One of them lost, which is Baker Mayfield, and then the other one won in the Super Bowl that year, which was Mahomes. But they had to go to overtime to actually get 300 yards passing.
Yeah, I don't think you ever want to go into the playoffs and be like, hey man, let's throw the ball for over 300 yards. Like you want to be balanced. I think the issue with Dallas is not about throwing the ball over the yard in the playoffs. It's about them being unbalanced. And I think that's a mentality. That's a philosophy thing more than anything. I know with the players, it starts with the offensive line when it comes to running, no doubt about it. But in my opinion, where I'll push back, or I wouldn't even say push back, because I agree, obviously you want to be balanced, and to be balanced, you have to run the ball. What I think needs to be highlighted more, and it never gets highlighted, we just go right to the players, is the coaching and the philosophy and the mentality. I've seen way too many teams have worse off offensive lines and still are able to run the ball, whether it be in the postseason, whether it be against the Cowboys, because they've got the mentality, they've got the philosophy that we're either A, going to be a running team, or B, going to be balanced. And the Cowboys just never, ever had that approach under McCarthy. I'm sorry, well, basically McCarthy. but more so Kellen Moore, right? Kellen Moore McCarthy era regime. I don't think that's going to be the case with this new regime, especially bringing in Clayton Adams. I'm telling you, go look at his resume. Before they even took Tyler Booker, I felt very good about this run game improving, and I felt very good about them being more balanced. But now, obviously, you add that aspect, the philosophy, the mentality from the top. When I say the top, the coaching, with getting a talented player. Yeah, I think this run game, definitely should be better. But more important, I think the commitment to being balanced and against better teams and in the playoffs or what have you, if they get there, I think the commitment will be more serious. I think we'll feel it and we'll see it, B-Bert.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think you're right about the commitment from a coaching staff. But the thing is too, if you get the commitment and you have the talent, man, you got something going there. What I mean by that is that you're not trying to coach up somebody. No, the talent's there, and we're committed. So I kind of like that. And I'll just speak on the draft. I like the draft, man, to be honest with you. It wasn't a lot of big names that popped out. I did want a running back higher. But Quinshon Judkins was my pick, and he went before our second-round pick anyway, so it was out the door. The only thing I was kind of concerned about, I didn't know anything about the cornerback that was picked, but I heard raves about it. But the only thing that then I saw he might
ACL.
end up starting the season on the pup, I was like, no, we ain't got one of those guys.
We got one, but it was the third this time. It was the third. It wasn't the second round.
Yeah, it was the third. Yeah,
third.
Yeah.
But not B. Bird. He's a first round talent all the way around. Savon Ravel, he's first round talent.
Yeah.
Hopefully, ACLs in 2025 they aren't killers anymore. So he get back to his normal self. Man, you got one.
Now the last thing I'll ask you is, whether trade or free agent, we do still need I think a number 2 wide receiver. I like Mingo coming out the draft, so I'm not as down on him as some people are. He came in the middle of the year with a backup quarterback. It's not a lot. You can't expect a lot from him. But I just kind of wonder, what I'm saying is this. I think too many times the front office has the best case scenario, like, okay, we're just going to count on Mingo, hope he – but you can't do that. You need to bring in a veteran just in case Mingo doesn't make it. And if he does, turn up, then that's great. But then you got a guy there at the number 2 position, and then now you got a good number 3, or if Mingo takes the number 2 position, you know what I'm saying? I think you need a backup plan there as far as a number 2 wide receiver, and you may get into that later on. I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. And I'm gonna hang up and get off the phone, but I appreciate the show again, man.
Hey, I appreciate you, B. Bird, as always. Let me reverse it for you. Let me flip that upside down on his head. I think Mingo and them boys are the backup. They should be the backup plan. Let me say that. I think Mingo, and I call it the Jalen firm. Jalen. They need to be the backup plan. I don't think we should be going into this thing like, yeah, Jalen Tolbert and Jonathan Mingo. But we need to go get a backup. Better go get us a James Washington. Shouts out to Law Nation, my brother. Appreciate you, bro. We don't need no backup plan. We need plan A. Preferably. I'd like plan A. And I'm not being greedy. I'm not asking for Devontae Adams. I'm not asking for prime Cooper Kupp. I'm not asking for, I'm not even asking for T. Higgins. Just upgrade on Jonathan Mingo. Upgrade on a Jalen Tolbert if you can. Now, if you can get a dude, right? Fine. That's cool. I made a little joke on Vach's show. Get a legitimate Robin, and we're using this in a hyper. Look, it's just a metaphor, ladies and gentlemen. Get a legitimate Robin, right? The Addisons, the Higgins, and I'm using Higgins now because that's a Robin, as opposed to a bunch of Alfreds. Cowboys got a bunch of Alfreds. Alfred's fine. You need Alfred. You need that wide receiver 3 or 4. Cowboys don't got that Oppo guy though, of Lamb. How many times have we seen Dallas or a team, I don't want to say take out Lamb, but there's stretches throughout the game where Lamb's not involved and the Cowboys can't get anything going. Even in games where the Cowboys run pretty decently, which is a different discussion, because in those games over the last few years, you were dealing with, in my opinion, most of the year, half of the year, somebody in Tony who couldn't break it anymore because he was figuring it out with his injuries. And then last year was Ezekiel Elliott and Rico. Shouts out to Rico. They can't. They're not explosive guys. Now, different story now with Jaden Blue, right? But You needed that extra weapon. I don't think it's crazy to crave that extra weapon opposite of CeeDee Lamb, because I do think it's needed. And I don't think just upgrading the run game is going to fix everything and you're going to vault yourself into the Super Bowl in that manner. No, I don't necessarily think that's the case. Now, you obviously need to complement whatever pass game you got with the run game, and they believe it starts right here with Booker. I believe it starts with the mentality. I believe it starts with the commitment, the philosophy, and scheme. I do think those things come first. And then once you start adding guys like a Tyler Booker to the equation, then yeah, I mean, now we're talking about all of that clicking. Now you start to look like possibly the Eagles, or in regards to run game, possibly the Detroit Lions. They've got all of that figured out, right? They got the talent. They've got the scheme. They got the philosophy. They got the mentality. They got the commitment. Everybody's bought in, and it looks unstoppable. I ask you this question. How many dudes is on the offensive line for the San Francisco 49ers during their run? How many dudes is on the offensive line for the Green Bay Packers last couple of years when their run game was been really, really good? But they have the commitment, right? They have the scheme. They have the will. They have the philosophy. Those things matter big time. For Dallas, for so many years, they didn't have a lot of those things. So having dudes up front mattered, because it was, hey, man, our guys got to be better than your guys. And sometimes when those guys are just as good or better, that ain't enough. It's not enough. And that's why I appreciate that they brought in Clayton Adams. That's why I appreciate Connor Riley. Those two guys combined is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best offensive line combination you will have had from a coaching standpoint since Bill Callahan. And I think it'll be why we'll come to appreciate Brian Schottenheimer. I think I told you guys, I think Shotty's going to bring more of what you see in the McVays and the Shannys and the O'Connells. I do think you'll see that. Just hold tight. Just hold tight on that. All right, let's get to the second rating here for Tyler Booker. That is year one impact. I'm giving Tyler Booker a full 5 out of 5 for his year one impact. Why? He finna bring ass whoop right out the gate. Like I just was talking about. Fitting the scheme to his strengths. It already sounds like Clayton Adams and the staff are all in on doing exactly that. And if that's the case, it's hard not to see Booker having a positive impact right out the gate, ladies and gentlemen. Right out the gate. Get ready for a heavy dose of the gap scheme concepts. You know, Booker was fired up about duo, right? You heard him on the phone. Shouts out to Vosh Lombardi for the film. Shouts out to him for the nugget too. You heard him on the phone, fired up about the duo. And when we saw Terrence Steele and Zach Martin, when they were healthy and they were a wrecking crew on those duo blocks. Y'all remember that? We was having fun with film sessions on Tuesday, seeing Terrence and Zach just moving dudes. Now you replace Booker, right? You replace, Zach Martin, who was aging, not as good. It is what it is. And you insert Booker and hopefully a better, more improved, healthier Terrence Steele on those blocks. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun again. Here's my notes on him from a film watching standpoint, man. A tremendous drive in the run game. I mean, the dude probably can move a truck, right? Especially if you could tell he loves a duo. He loves those combo blocks. He's powerful, obviously. He's strong, has a very, very strong punch, gets some good-ass knockback. Now, to be fair, I do want to see how he holds up early on against quicker professional three-techs. You know, college, he's played some dudes, right, in college, no doubt about it. But these professional guys been around the block a little bit. I'm interested to see how he handles it. You know, guys who want to shoot the gaps, cross his face. I appreciate that he stays low. Low man wins, right? I appreciate that. But sometimes he'll fire out real low. He'll get flat and get bendy. And I've seen him recover from it. But I've also seen him, defensive tackle, hit him with that swim move. And, he gets lost there. But guess what? He's going to get a lot of practice. A whole lot of practice against one of those quick 3 techs in Oso Digizua, right? Iron sharp as iron, as they say. And he's going to get a lot of practice against that scheme, that type of upfield, shoot the gaps, cross your face, make you come chase me type of scheme. So I'm excited for those battles in camp. And then there's some questions about how consistent can he be from A to C+, right? That's just real because of the average, dare I say, athletic ability. And, you know, I don't think that's a bad thing to say. None of these prospects none of them are finished products. They all have warts. But once you get outside that top 5 to 8-ish, yeah, you know, they're not all perfect. And that's just what it is with a Tyler Booker, especially when you get late in games where, you know, everybody's a little bit more worn down. It's a little tougher to get wide then, right? But when it comes to those short pulls, I have no worry about that. Like if he's A to B, A to that short C, I've seen him do that no problem. Now when it's getting to the second level, again, not the smoothest, but I think he gets there. He gets there, and obviously being who he is, he gets there with bad intentions. And honestly, I kind of hate Alabama's scheme. The more I watched, I just was like, this is kind of trash, but it is what it is. He's still a dog in every single last aspect of his game. But let me ask y'all this, because I hit up my brother Vach the other day, and I'm like, am I tripping, Vach? Or is Booker a better pass protector? And that's not a knock on the other side of his game. It's just he is a phenomenal pass protector. I was so impressed with his pass protection, and that might stand out more in year 1. I was literally chuckling watching him. Literally chuckling. Watching smaller defensive ends on stunts, watching linebackers trying to blitz him, just laughing at how he stops. Now, I've seen him, he'll stop defensive tackles too, but when you're blitzing, right? Like a lot of times you're trying to get quick pressure, unless you're lining up 6-7 players at the line of scrimmage, yeah. But if you're trying to send some cross dog or some delayed blitz and he recognizes it, which he does a very good job of doing, and you a linebacker or you're a defensive end, it's not happening. It's dead. It's done. I've seen him bench press these little dudes like that. One of my favorite reps in watching him was against Georgia. He only had a couple losses in that game. I thought he was really, really good. But there was they tried that little cross dog blitz, right? 5 flashes in front of 11 loops right off his hip. Tyler sees that. Booker sees Levin's trying to get right off the hip and get in that A gap. Mirrors it, bow, gets over. So Levin tries a counter, right? Tries to hit him with a shimmy, get to this outside, hit him with a swim move. Feints that swim move. What are you doing? Levin realizes he cannot get to the backfield, so he tries to jump. Bad idea. Booker grabbed his ass up and drove him about 4 yards back. He started run blocking him in the pass block game, and I'm just like, man, and maybe this was in regards to me being more impressed with the pass blocking. Again, the Alabama run scheme. Sorry, Oscar. Maybe you could let me know, but I just thought it was not fun to watch. It was pretty bad for real. It was basically just Jalen Milroe run, or read option RPO run. It's kind of corny, but that won't be the case. I think here in Dallas, you'll see a more diverse run scheme, which is why it's going to be really, really important to see how he adapts to a lot of the things that Clayton Adams and Connor Riley are going to do. And let's not forget, man. I know I'm talking a lot about his pass block. I know I'm talking about movement. You're not bullying Tyler Booker. Not mentally, not physically. Who he is real. This isn't, and no offense to the other guy, this isn't a try-hard guy. A smaller offensive guard that, we get excited about because we see him jumping into piles. We'll see him getting into the fights and things like that. Like, that's a mirage. That's a mirage. This is not a mirage. When he says, I want to see the life dwindle from you as a football player, you see it. I love what Vach said the other day. If there was draft court, and he was talking about Tyler Guyton, because Guyton was saying some of this stuff last year, but me and Vach, we still was doing a show. We was like, Where is this? Where is this mentality you're talking about? I don't see it. But when Booker says it, all the evidence is there. When Tyler Guyton says it, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. That glove wasn't fitting on Tyler Guyton, fitting on Tyler Booker. That's all I'm saying. It really is. So, you're drafting him to come in here to be a day one starter. I think he's ready for it. And between the scheme fit, between the physical maturity, the mental maturity, the nastiness, right? This is easy, man. Easy 5 stars for me. I think you're gonna feel his impact in camp. I think you're gonna feel his impact week 1. Hell, you might feel his impact snap 1. 5 out of 5 Cowboys Nation. Let me know would you have Tyler Booker's rookie impact at? He better not be messing with no bookies. We need you on the field, big fella. We need you on the field. Rookie impact, 5 stars for me. Where you got him? He said he's Bane. Nah, man, he Booker T. Or Mark Henry. I was debating on that. I was debating on which one. Let's see what y'all talking about here. Gerald Beasley said, Solomon, you can Mozzie with Schoolmaker. Not sure where we're going there. Dude was drafted, says Heist to block Jalen Carter. I'm just saying, I saw dudes blocking Jalen Carter last year, the Cowboys. But this dude was drafted to give you that depth of the pocket that the Cowboys haven't had consistently for a long, long time. Long, long time. And I say consistently. Remember, we were dealing with for a while. I mean, like 2 years after Dak was drafted, they went out and got Connor Williams, undersized tackle. They moved into guard for whatever reason, and he couldn't put enough peanut butter on. He did put some, but it didn't work. He was getting pushed back a lot. Tyler Biadasz, damn, they really fool with these. I just thought about that. Tyler Biadasz, Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker. Gee, Tyron Smith. Tyler Biadasz, I thought was a better mover to the second level pre-injury, but again, the strength, right? Times you was getting put in that lap. Booker's not getting put in nobody's lap in pass protection. BB's not getting put in nobody's lap. Tyler Smith's not getting put in nobody's lap. Where I think we'll see an even better improvement, and this is no disrespect to the great Zach Martin, is when teams stunt, right? That was one thing that I noticed earlier with Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe, first time playing center, he was going to struggle with it a little bit until he got used to recognizing it. And that's where you saw him get beat most of the time. You didn't see him get pushed. You saw him get beat from stunts and games and whatnot. And as he plays more and gets more familiar with the position, I think he's going to get better with that. Connor Riley's back, his guy, right? Tyler Booker, though, when it comes to recognition and stunts and all that, he has it down pat. There's no problem with that. And I think, time to time I saw him get a little crossed up here and there, but I don't even know if it was necessarily him or more so than it was 74. Oscar, you can let me know who the hell 74 is, but there was a couple reps where I was like, what are you doing? Making him look bad. But I think he recognizes real good. And I think between him and Cooper Beebe, once they get on that same page, yeah, you're getting stopped. There's a lot of ass whoop in the middle of that offensive line. I think the depth of the pocket is going to be great. We just need to make sure the edges are fine, because as nice as it is to have that depth that Dak will have to step up, he doesn't have the athleticism and the agility, I think, to get off me like you see some of these, the Jaden Daniels of the world, the Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Like they are so agile, and if they do get beat off the edge, they can kind of dip that shoulder or that Dak's not doing it. What you want Dak to do is have a traditional pocket in the sense of, okay, if you're going to get beat on the outside, get beat running the hump. Make them run the hump so I can step up and out, right? Because if he can step up and then run out, cool. But if you're getting beat right away and he's beelining right to the quarterback, now he has to use his brute strength, right? And we've seen Dak do that where, get off me. But I don't want him to have to do that all the time. I want to be able to step up and out, make plays on the move, All right, scroll back up here. Let's see. I seen all the numbers here. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement here. 5 stars. 4.5, 5, 5, 5. Yeah, 10, 5, 20. Yeah, this is easy, bro. I don't really see this not working out. I don't. Let's hit the horns, man. Let's get to 929, who I think was first on the line. Good morning, good sir. 929, you excuse me, 929, you live. All right, we'll come back to 929. Let's talk to Los. What's up, Los?
Yo, good morning, Sky, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you, bro? Oh, well, you're probably feeling good about the Lakers, because they took that L. But so I shouldn't ask.
Hey, Luka tried, LeBron cried, Wolves in 5.
That was good.
Oh, man.
You see Ant-Man last night. Ant-Man said, Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Wolves in 5.
Hey, I know that's your squad, Sky. I know that's your squad.
Hey, man,
I hate that you got my boy Luka, but
look,
hey,
when they didn't get Mark Williams, I'm like, all right, look, I'm gonna have fun with this because I know damn well they ain't finna go on no run. And so I just have fun with it, man.
Yeah, hey, there's always next year, and hey, you never know. Y'all might just get Giannis with the way things are going.
One thing I know about the Lakers, they ain't just gonna sit on their ass. They're gonna try something.
Yeah, and one thing about the Lakers too is they ain't gonna destroy a franchise like Nico, but it is what it is. But real quick to Cowboys talk, Sky, and I just got one beat, and I'll leave it at that. Cowboys will always show their hand, and some might not be at their fault. But one thing we always hear every year, Sky, and I assure you're going to hear it this year when Cowboys are struggling in a key spot, wide receiver this year, is you're going to hear them say, we like our guys. By losing Zach Martin, go ahead.
No, I'm just ad-libbing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so by losing Zach Martin in retirement and D-Law to the Seahawks, those were the greatest needs on the board, and those are facts, Sky. Because when you have a guy like Zach Martin on the line, I mean, you gotta be able to, keep Dak upright, right? And then losing a key piece like D-Law, I think that already kind of set the draft already. So when you have a guy like Booker that's on the board, that's a plug and play for now, and helps you maintain a competitive edge in your division, you're now facing the Eagles, the Giants D-line, and now even the Commanders. Dan's a wide receiver. I have invested over millions of dollars in my quarterback and my wide receiver, and they better deliver for the weakness I can't assemble. Due to my incompetence.
Gosh, man, you sounding like the Joneses right there. Oh, Lord.
And I know, and I'm just repeating, but I can't assemble due to my incompetence of how I run things. And that's just the Cowboys, Guy.
Oh, okay. I mean, so you're just talking for the Cowboys because that's not how the rest of the league is moving. The rest of the league is not saying I paid my quarterback and my wide receiver, and we ain't going to try to upgrade those positions at all. Like, they're literally trading assets to get wide receiver twos. They're drafting guys. They're throwing a whole bunch of things at the table to get that. So you just talking about the Cowboys, right? You ain't talking about the league.
Correct, Scott. Specifically Cowboys.
Because I've seen Baltimore go out and get a Derrick Henry and go out and try to make trades for receivers. I've seen Pat Mahomes' squad make many a trade. I've seen the Bills make a trade to go get Amari Cooper. I've seen the Eagles literally draft a first-round receiver and the next year trade a first-round pick for a receiver. I've seen the Minnesota Vikings, take 2 first-round. So you just talking about the Cowboys.
Correct, Scott. And, I mean, they said it themselves. Stephen Jones went up there on the media and said, Dak is going to have to win with less. That's the way the cap works, It's just a piece of the pie, Man, it is what it is, Scott. And I hate to say it, but we're not going after Pickens, the Williams, etc. It's not just the Cowboys, how they move. So I'm not expecting to go after a wide receiver now. I think that's said and done. I think you're stuck with Tolbert and Mingo. But if they do go after it, don't expect a top free agent name. And I'll leave it at that, Sky. I don't, that's all I've seen in 20 years, and I'm not changing my opinion on that because they show their hands.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Los. Let me say this. I do think they genuinely want to try to upgrade a position. Just don't think they got balls. I think they lost that. They like to be safe, man. And then now we're talking beyond Booker pick. Booker pick is safe, don't get me wrong. But just in general, I think they want to. I don't think they want to do what it takes, though. Whether that be financially committing to an extra weapon or two, whether that be committing higher or more assets to acquiring said player or players, and they got the balls to do it. You realize you're talking about a franchise who doesn't trade a lot. A trade, and when I say trade a lot, I mean quality picks for quality players. I'm talking about a franchise who doesn't trade players. They'll trade quality players to get quality picks to get quality players. They don't even trade up in the draft. Help me if I'm wrong here, please. Mo Claiborne, I want to say it was the last time. Mo Claiborne was drafted in 2012, right? Dez was 10. Traded up for Dez. Then got Mo 2 years later. It was trading. But over the last 15 years. Now, again, let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if they made some significant trade in the first round. I don't recall it over the last 15 years. They are a comfortable organization. What is more comfortable than taking Tyler Booker, who oh, come on, man, this is a day one plug and play. I'll be shocked if he's not around for a very long time. I'll be generally shocked. As opposed to saying, hey, we're going to trade up and get X, Y, Z, or we're going to trade for or we're going to go sign Adams, or like that's not comfortable for them. They feel real uneasy about that because they got to allocate some bread. Oh, we're a little older. We're a little scared. Meanwhile, the Rams just was one play away from going to the NFC Championship game after everybody told me it's a wrap. They went out and said, we're going to go get Adams, even though we got Puka Nacua. And just had Cooper Kupp. They got Adams with Cooper Kupp still with the team. And, well, Scott, why are we talking about wide receivers? Cool. The Ravens went out and got Derrick Henry. If you want to talk about running backs. The Packers got Jacobs, right? The Eagles, Saquon Barkley. So, these are things that may make the Cowboys uncomfortable, but not other teams because they ain't got time. They got to try to swing for the fences. The Cowboys can be like, wait a second. Well, let's just take our time here. Let's just be conservative here. There's no pressure. Not getting fired. Oh, no. Let's see how Jonathan Mingo and Jalen Tolbert and those boys work out. Let's rewind. Let's see how Noah Brown, who else was on that team? Whomever. Let's see them if they work out. Oof, we in December. It ain't working out. Hey, here we go.
Hey, T.Y., you think you can still run? This is Will McClay, man. Steven, he wanted me to call you. You think you still got something left?
That's all I'm saying. Would it be shocking? Wouldn't shock me. $5 from TB. Appreciate you with the super chat.
Super chat.
He says, win with less instead of since we're paying Dak, we have to find more creative ways to acquire talent. It is a luxury only GMs who can't get fired have. Exactly. You want the short thing and taking Tyler Booker? Fine. Take him. Book it. It's going to be a beast. But keep going, right? Keep going. Don't stop. Because I do think when you look at the long-term outlook of Tyler Booker, it's another 5 stars, man. I ain't hesitating there, man. 5 stars. He's got the makeup of a guy who can lock down the position for the next 8 years or whatever, right? Again, I talked about the Cowboys hitting on this position more often than not, especially when you're picking this high. And the jury is still out on Tyler Guyton. But when it comes to talent character in draft history, how can I not label this a 5-star? I would say go listen to the guy talk. I would say dig into his background, but we got a little excited when we heard Tyler Guyton talk, but it didn't match his film. This matches the film. He already a grown-ass man. He plays with the natural power, but I think what's going to separate him is the mental side of his game. High IQ player, processes well, communicates at pre-snap. You would think he's a center, and this could be an Alabama thing, and they probably just had him as their communicator because he's their leader. Doesn't get rattled. Used to playing in an environment with the microscope, right? Going from Alabama to Dallas. He even talked about that in his presser. That type of stuff, even when you start to get older, that type of stuff is what keeps you around. It's what, has you as a player that can be in this league for a long time, even well past your athletic peak. And I do think he's going to continue to refine his game. I do think he'll clean up some of that second level timing, right? I do think, he'll improve lateral quickness. I think he can shed some body fat and replace it with muscle and get a little quicker. Now, I ain't expecting him to be, again, Tyler or Tyron Smith. But he's in a professional environment now. 24/7, but all year round. Yeah, I think whatever rough around the edges things, we'll get figured out. Talking about a guy that has SEC war paint on him. Finna be in the NFC East, so when he get thrown in there, the Carters, the Davises, the DTs over there in Washington, Dexter Lawrence, yeah, he can match that mentality with those dudes, as well as the physical aspect of that game. So, looking at the long-term outlook, not a flashy pick, right? Not a sexy pick. Just a very consistent physical player that I think can be a leader for this team for the next decade, man. 5 stars. And can we also sometimes stop using the word safe and be like, oh, it's bad? Like, it's not a bad thing, man. It's a safe pick. They don't normally miss here. So, got 5 stars, Cowboys Nation. I'd imagine you guys are probably around that as well. Where we at here? Where we at here with the long-term outlook? Still, the boy says, send him to Duke. He would Duke. He would Duke. Let me say this publicly. I already said this privately to him. I'll say it publicly. And that's my guy. Duke's my guy. We talk about wrestling a lot. We talk about offensive line. Let me say this, though. Off-season, training, just trying to stay up, stay in shape, learn a little more about the position, about the game, whatever. Yeah, I'm all fine with Duke, with the Duke school. Once we get into the nitty-gritty, let Clayton Adams and Riley do their thing. This is no slight to Duke. Where I'm getting at is, if you guys remember, and we brought this up on the show a few times, there was wires being crossed, especially in that first year under Mike Solari, with the teachings of Duke and the teachings of Solari. Solari, old school, literally old as hell. He talked about it publicly. Yeah, I know players these days, they go do this and don't do that, but sometimes what happens is, you get your wires crossed and yada, yada, yada. And Duke and Solari had to meet. They had to talk. Hey, man. Let's figure out how we can combine what we do. Maybe, you teach what I'm teaching them here type thing. Because Duke was not a fan of the teachings of Solari. And I do think that had a major impact on some of these guys. Now, I'm not saying that Duke could have a negative impact on Clayton and Connor Riley. What I'm saying is, let Clayton and Connor Riley do their thing. And then Duke can kind of just refine things. We don't need wires crossed. We don't need it. Clayton Adams' resume speaks for itself. I'm gonna keep pumping Clayton Adams up as the MVP acquisition this offseason. Beyond the draft pick, free agency, coaching, whatever. I think him, and if you combine it with Conor Riley, I think those two gentlemen will be, and you'll see it, the MVP, the most valuable acquisitions. Let them dudes do their thing. And then let Duke kind of come behind and clean some things up, right? Just wanted to say that publicly. That's all. So I got 5 stars here. So if you guys missed it, I have his long-term outlook as 5 stars. I've got his rookie impact as 5 stars. And I have the value of the pick as 3 stars. And you're probably like, well, why 3 here? Well, because literally the value of taking a guard that high, it's a premium pick. You don't normally see that happen often. But it is what it is. All in all, really good pick here, Cowboys Nation. Shouts out to all of you guys in the chat. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you're over here on YouTube. Shout out to Twitter. This is our first time streaming on, I guess we got to call it X. Shouts out to X. Appreciate you guys jumping in this morning. For those who don't know, I usually try to run whatever live I do is usually in the morning. I know I was live a couple weeks ago at night, but most of the time it's going to be here in the morning. Joe just dropped 5 and said, tag team I quit match. Tyler Smith and Tyler Booker versus Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter.
Super chat.
It's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. Don't forget Cooper Beebe in there as the third man. Who's the third man? It's Cooper Beebe. Let's get back to the horns here. Let's get Brandon from Houston. Ain't heard from B in a minute. What's up with you?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I had to call in, man. I said, man, I got to talk some ball with Will. Hey, I thought I was done. I thought the Cowboys had fooled me for the last time, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And they got me back, Will. They got me back. Like, just like that. I was like, there ain't no players that they can draft to get me back. F this, F that, and I'll be damned. But it counts from accountability and doing what they say, right? Because just like you were talking about the Tyler Guyton court, draft court, I got coach's court, right? So I got these offensive and defensive lines, and they're saying the right things to my West Texas heart. They're saying, oh, what's your philosophy? And they're like, violence. And I'm like, yeah, right.
Talk to a bit.
Yeah, right. And then round 1, they draft violence. You know what I'm saying? And then in the 7th round, they're still drafting violence. And I'm like, yes, thank you, God. And I disagree that it's not a sexy pick. That's what the draft people say. That's what some consensus say. To hell with that. It is the sexiest pick I've seen in a while because I got a $60 million quarterback. Everybody telling me that I paid Dak Prescott too much and this and that. Well, anybody who actually watches ball and watches the Cowboys know that the fastest way to mess up Dak is right there in the A-gap. And San Francisco did, and that's on offense and defense. Yeah, Tom Brady can't do nothing if you're in the A-back.
No
Patrick
quarterback.
Mahomes, he got destroyed.
No quarterback wants pressure up in the A-gap. None.
No, 100%. And now I have 1,000 pounds in the middle. 1,000 pounds. Actually, a little bit more than that. It's about 1,005 pounds, actually. And that's not including off-season peanut butter for Cooper Beebe. And so the problem with Cooper Beebe is, like, he just played center. He's not used to making the calls. And, like, you got one of my points is Booker's with all that. He's a film junkie. He's going to call the linebackers the stunts. And you ask him who he wants first. He picked Jalen Carter first. He wants to take his will. He wants to take him out and go. He wants all the smoke. And the thing is like, none of this Mike McCarthy, his offensive game plan is run four curls on 3rd down. Our new offensive plan, I think, is going to be throw your best 3 technique into your safety and watch you can't do a damn thing about it.
Throw your what now?
So your 1 technique or your 3 technique into the safety. That's plan A and plan B. duo Cooper, duo Cooper and Tyler Smith, duo Cooper and Tyler Booker, and Booker and Steele, we're running. What'd you say?
Booker and Steele. I thought you were going that combination.
Oh yeah. Nah, Booking's still too, but we got that Oregon tackle too. It still is acting up. Like I just like Shoddy talks about building competition. He talked about, they're talking about violence. They're talking about character. This ain't all the right coach speak.
Where I thought you were
and
going,
then they backed it up.
Where I thought you were going
go ahead,
somewhere
Will.
different. I'll speak on the basis of what you're saying, but I'll go a little different way because we've heard them talk this before. I've heard them talk about violence and being physical, and then they go and draft an offensive lineman last year. I've heard them talk violence and be physical, and they took Mozzie Smith, right? I've heard them do that. Where I think, and I want to get back to what you said, talk about draft court with the player. You mentioned draft court with the coach. It's not what the coaches are saying. I can give a damn about that because we've been there. It's the resume. Do you have the evidence when you go to court? So now we're just talking about NFL court. You go up on an NFL court and you're saying that, hey man, we're gonna run the ball, or I'm good at running the ball, or I'm good at developing offensive linemen, or I'm good at having a scheme or a philosophy or a mentality. Go look at Clayton Adams' resume. Go look at Brian Schottenheimer, right? Like I don't know, when he was in Seattle, I think he had a little fighting with coach who was it over there?
100%.
Pete Carroll. Hold on, with Pete Carroll. But you go look at the resume of these coaches, it shows that, hey man, at the very least, we want to be balanced. At the very least, we want to impose our will with the run game to make things easier in the passing game. So the evidence is there for them, not just what they're saying, not just drafting, because they draft Tyler Smith a couple years ago when they want to get more physical. It's the resume of the current coaches. Where you go look at the resume of Mike McCarthy, show me where Mike McCarthy wanted to be physical and violent and run the ball. Show me where Kellen Moore wanted to be physical and violent and run the ball. It wasn't there. These coaches have it built in their resume. That's why I feel confident that this will be a more balanced attack.
It's even deeper than that. More than resume. I've been watching Schottenheimer's run the damn ball since my whole life.
That's the resume. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about blood. But I'm talking about deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Like bloodline, like in my blood. Like he could design a run scheme at 8 years old. I have no doubt. You know what I mean? He's about that life. Like he's about that. I watched him. I'm old enough to see Martin Schottenheimer coach the Washington Redskins and Shoddy as a QB coach, and they didn't have no offensive line like Tyler Booker. They didn't have no running back, and they were like a top 5 rushing team, just on commitment and violence.
Philosophy.
Philosophy, right? And so I hear all this bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Tyler Booker, this is the only time the first 3 rounds I'm screaming at the TV for draft picks, and then the name, it goes dun 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 dun, and then they say the name that I was yelling at the TV.
This
3
the first
times in a row.
Damn.
This the first time. The first time I'm like,
I'm sorry.
I was like, are they going to take Rebel? Oh, there it goes. Yeah, because, man, we screaming for T.J. Watt. They take Taco. You know the deal.
I stopped screaming for players since 2017, brother. I told you, but.
hey, I hear you, Will, but yeah, so I just want to say, like, to the Cowboys fans who are like, no, they're listening to the 4 letter networks, and they're like, you have too high Tyler Booker. Yeah, Tyler Booker, they're like, what's the long-term outlook? Hall of Fame, fam.
Oh, my.
That's what he has in his mind. Super Bowls. He's talking Super Bowls. He's talking
Cowboys Nation.
Like whoever you got 3 technique, I'm taking his soul. He ain't gonna be the same. Don't pay him a second contract. He ain't gonna want to play football no more whenever I'm done with him. That's the type of shit that we need, Will. And I like Maffa. He played hurt. I was unfamiliar with his game, sir. If he's healthy, ready to go. And man, Jadon Blue, woo. Tell me the last time we had 4-2-5 out the backfield, sir, with pass catching ability. Never, bro. I watched Zeke drop so many passes on swing passes. I watched Rico Dowdle just drop the ball. He did have some touchdowns and some good, on those routes. But I got better wide receiver than that. I do. It's just simple than that. He needs to hold on to the ball. Will. I know. I watch Texas football too, but I'm excited about that. And then I posed the question to you, Will. Like, yeah, we do need to upgrade the wide receiver room, but I think they're going to try to because they're upgrading the competition in almost every unit. Like, they're really doing it. Like in years past, if Dak Prescott gets hurt, I'm like Cooper Rush. Like, I watch the games because I'm a diehard fan, but I'm not expecting much. Now I got a 6'5" dude with a rocket arm coming in. Something might happen. And and they got Joe Milton. I think Joe Milton's better than a lot of them prospects. This is a weak quarterback draft. So I'm like, and they drafted a running back with that pick they got back from the Patriots. So I'm like, are the Cowboys moving different? Yeah, they're a little bit moving different. On wide receiver, they're moving the same, I admit. But if they go get me one,
they're not moving different.
Yeah, like if they go get me one,
they're not moving. They're not moving different. I'm always going to correct people when I hear that. They're literally moving the exact same as they have moved over the years. It's just that I think with the coaching aspect of this, I think should improve that aspect. The front office is doing the same shit they've been doing. We kind of debunked that whole myth a few weeks ago. I don't know if you might have missed that show. But
I missed that one. But
you might miss that.
But I guess what I'm referring to is the cohesion between the coaching staff, the philosophies, the scouting, and the draft. The way that they moved in that, the way they put the board together, the way they flew out coaches to talk to the players one-on-one.
Brother, I don't know if you're aware, brother, but that ain't nothing. That ain't new, my boy. The coaches get flown out to go talk to players. Coaches go see players. That aspect ain't nothing. We ain't got a lie to kick it now.
Hey, but from what I understand, Fat Ass Mike didn't go see none of them players. He didn't know none of their mama's names, from what I understand.
Brother, the head coach don't go see every single prospect. They have the scouts and the assistants that go do that.
No,
as well.
100%.
Yeah.
No, definitely. But I'm saying, but Shotty did. He's a real person.
Shotty wasn't seeing all 300 prospects.
No, not 200 prospects. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying he was more active. That's what I'm saying. He's more active and engaged than Mike. That's what I'm saying. 100%. If I'm a liar, tell me I'm a liar.
100%. You're going to see him more active out there at practice too.
Yeah, and the thing is like I actually, and this is the disservice that Mike did us and the Dallas Cowboys did us. I actually don't know how good our wide receivers are because I don't know what happens if they don't run 4 curls, Will. I don't know what happens if they have a running game and a play action scheme married to it. I don't know.
Boy, you back. You back for sure. You back for sure. You don't know. You don't know how. What are we talking about here, man? This is Jalen Tolbert and Jonathan Mingo and Jalen Brooks and Jalen Moreno Cropper. And what are you talking about here? You know, stop it.
I mean, listen. I'm not saying that they're going to go from who they are to all pros. Will, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying they ain't got a fair chance to show what they can do.
We just put on the film. What do you mean? I would just watch them. You know what they are. They're not difference makers in that sense. They are wide receiver 3-4 guys. They're not difference makers.
I would see that.
Yeah, I mean, we're just looking for another difference maker out there if we can.
But yeah, and listen, and I'm not saying like I'm team like let's not get a difference maker. Of course. But if we're going to be throwing the ball less, which I do believe so in Shotty's scheme, we're going to be running the ball more. We're going to run the ball successfully. It lessens the impact. Now, do I want a second difference maker? Because I think that makes us win the division or come close. Absolutely. I don't know what one.
Let me emphasize this more. It's not about running the ball more. The Cowboys, when they were 12-5, a few of those years, they were top 10 in running the ball in regards to attempts. I don't care about the attempts. I care about the how.
Yeah, I'm with you.
The how is going to be so improved, in my opinion, that the amount is I think is going to override the amount. I think you'll be more efficient. I think you'll be better. And if you're running the ball even more when you were ranked 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever it was at those times, then that means that you're closing out games. That's what that means. You're closing those games out.
No.
Where it matters for me is the playoffs. Because I've seen the Cowboys rank in the top 10 in rushing. I've seen the Cowboys rank in the top 10 in attempts. I don't care about that anymore. I want to see the Cowboys learn how to close out games. I want to see the Cowboys understand situational football better than I saw under Kellen Moore. I want to see the Cowboys get into the postseason and they don't ignore that aspect of the game and become one-dimensional. During the regular season, all that stuff is fluff unless we get into a regular, unless we get into a good team and they show me that they're able to close out via running the game or able to close out via being balanced. So when it comes to pure numbers, throw that shit out the window, brother. Are you going to be better in how you do it? Are you going to be more committed in how you do it? And then once you get to the playoffs, Don't just talk the talk that you was doing in the regular season. Actually walk the walk, because I'm tired of getting to the postseason and my running backs are averaging 2.4 yards per carry. I'm tired of getting to the postseason and Dak has to throw 40-something times. I'm tired of getting to the postseason and we're doing things we are not doing. We're doing things that we didn't do in the regular season, or going back to things that we weren't good at. Do what you were good at during the regular season. So miss me with running the ball more and bring me running the ball back.
I need Vox with the war call on that one. Woo!
I don't got a war call,
I
but
believe in Clayton Adams. I know. I'll take that. And because that is fact. And I just believe, I watched the Arizona Cardinals whoop our ass with like 3 different offensive line schemes in the same game with a less offensive line.
Exactly.
And I'm pulling my hair out. I lost. I got gray in my beard now just from that game, because I said, how in the hell they got 0 first-round draft picks? All of them. I'm not going to call them trash because they was moving our dudes. but yeah, they hit us with multiple schemes in the same game. And that's when I first looked up Clayton Adams, because I said, who in the hell is doing that to us? And then so
that game put their OC on the map for me. Drew Petzing. Yeah, he got put on the map for me.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I said, who whooped our ass that bad? I had to look it up. And Trayvon Diggs getting hurt or not, I don't care. That offensive line scheme was solid. And so, yeah, man, I'm just with it. I'm just excited and pumped up. So I had to call my boy Will Steele and just let the nation know that, hey, I ain't going to preach like hope and all that stuff and glitter, but I just know, listen, I will preach violence, Will. I will preach violence. And we coming. We coming. And that's all I got for y'all. I need to get to a morning meeting, man. You picked me up just in time, and I appreciate y'all. But let's go Cowboys, and let's get with the violence. Let's run A-gap. Let's throw it to the back. Let's get Turpin involved and actually run real routes. Like, let's do some things, and let's protect Dak Prescott, and let's win the division, take our division back. That's the first step. All right, love y'all. Peace out. Go Cowboys.
Appreciate you, B. Boy, people been holding that in for a minute. They said, y'all gonna get this work today. Appreciate you, big dog. Yeah, you preaching a lot of what I was talking about with this staff, man. Straight up. Look, I know Shotty ain't the best selection, but I like him. I think he's going to bring a different aspect to this team in regards to schematics, in regards to commitment, in regards to philosophy. It's more updated, less stubborn. I think having Shotty being everywhere he's been, a chameleon is what I call him, is going to benefit Dallas. Again, before anybody in the chat talk about, oh, y'all delusional, y'all talking all this pot. Look, you will never hear me talk about, oh, we going to the Super Bowl and all this other stuff, Hall of Fame. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just talking about what is. They will improve in aspects. Don't get it twisted. When you draft a Tyler Booker, where you get a Clayton Adams in here, Connor Riley, and what I believe Schottenheimer's going to do, they're going to improve in certain aspects of this team. Is it enough to where you're talking about the Cowboys being one of the best squads? I ain't doing all that. I'm not going to sit here and pump or fake the funk on you. Y'all know that's not how I roll here. Okay? But there are aspects of this team that will improve. There's a couple supers in there I saw, and one being from the Miss Sharice Parson, Mama Parsons. She's like my second mama when I moved down to Dallas. Just love you, Miss Sharice. You already know what it is. A wonderful, wonderful person. For those who don't know, man, me and Miss Sharice used to work together back in the day, throwing papers, man. But thank you, Miss Sharice. Appreciate you so much. But good stuff so far. We had another super. Let me get to okay. Mansa Musa dropped 20. Appreciate y'all.
Super chat.
Mansa said, great to have you back. Still need to see you and Voch cutting up on the show soon. True dynamic duo. Salute. Yeah, man. Me and Voch cut up just in general behind the scenes, but yeah, we definitely got to get back on the show. He killing it right now with Broadus, so he in a groove. Plus, y'all see more.com. I'll just say, get ready to see more Voch on .com. That's all I'm saying about that. All right, let's keep it moving, man. Let's wrap to Boss Cowboy Sports on YouTube. If y'all know who Boss Cowboy is. Good morning, brother.
Hey, what's going on, bro?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, man. Obviously, very excited about the draft. We've been getting rave reviews.
As we should.
By obviously people that even hate us. That's always a good sign. When you see PFF grading at an A, even though I don't trust them, it was so outstanding in value that they had to give us credit because they would have been going against their own opinions. I will say, though, that I honestly feel like, to a degree, we are slipping. Cowboy Nation, we slipping. I've been thinking about this for a little while. As we go greatly over-focusing on wide receiver 2, when we have a major liability at the one tech position.
Oh, my.
It's
boss.
Yeah, we got a major liability there. And it's not about, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just glad somebody else for the community is bringing this up. Because I said this publicly, and I say it to you and everybody else here. This whole thing that was going on, boss, I don't know if you heard me, the whole little team trenches, team weapons. I thought that I didn't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I know y'all were involved in it. I just think it was just, I thought it was corny, to be honest.
It was tribal. But it was necessary.
Let me tell you why it bugged me. Let me tell you why it bugged me. Because it had nothing to do with team trenches for real, number one. I don't like tribalism, but it had nothing to do with team trenches. It was team O-line. If you were truly about team trenches, how in the hell is defensive tackle, specifically nose tackle 1, the position you begin your ass whooped, getting ran on in every single big game, getting ran on in every single big playoff game? How is that not the position that's featured the most going into the draft? So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm glad somebody else from the community brought up that the real issue here is one tech.
That's right. Well, I say this as a part of team trenches. You know how it is. Sometimes you got to concentrate your energy because if you have too many battles, you'll lose all of them. You know, the main battle at first on team trenches was obviously to try to get pick 12 right, which I think they did. But now it's time to really kind of put our energy on the other side of the ball because that's also where Brian been concentrating. And that's also, honestly, where we fell in Micah Parsons. So, like, if we really want him to be the versatile player and chess piece that he could be, you can't depend upon rookies. Like me and you, we loved Syka. We loved him coming out, right? But we also know he struggled with the Browns, and sometimes they just take a while to cook. You know, and we right now kind of falling for the same trap that we always fall for. We look at weight and we get excited. Ooh, he 340. He's going to save us right now. Ooh, look at Quentin Bohanna. Yeah. White Gorilla. We have all these names, right? And then they come in. The white gorilla. Oh, the white gorilla. He white and he big. You know, it's just, we trip. And it's the same trap. Yeah, and it's like, and like, what happened to Quentin Bohanna? Let's keep it real.
No, look, you're right.
He played against he played against Philly on that tush push. Man, them balls was walking up to the line of scrimmage and calling out the play and busting him. Right. The next day they went and got who? Hankins. You know what I'm saying? They went and got Jonathan Hankins and it helped. So it's one of those things to where I don't want anybody to think I'm being negative and don't believe in our young guys. I do, but think about it. We got 4 people that's in year 2 or below, and we got 1 guy going into year 3. You know, and that's if we don't really get a vet in there, we not really trying to really get over the hump. We gonna be competitive, and they gonna likely get bullied. You know what I'm saying? So we slipping, Cowboy Nation, and all of the effort that we putting on wide receiver 2 is necessary, and it is. I agree with it. We do need a weapon at 2. Or at least competition at 2, I'll say that, because Mingo might have something. I ain't going to count him out. But at the same time, we need that same energy or more at helping out Micah Parsons at that one tech and really, truly shoring up that. Because I am team trenches, and team trenches is smart enough to go at both sides. Yep. That's what we should be doing, bro.
You definitely need to be focusing on the term trenches, which means both sides, you know. But yeah, you're right, bro. And that's what happens, right? You get the Bohannas, you get the Vanilla Gorillas who he's been decent in Washington. I think with the Saints now. You get the whoever else the Cowboys drafted over these last few years in the 6th, 7th round, whatever. You get that when you get the 9th, 10th defensive tackle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You get that when you're picking in the top 12. And in my opinion, I think Grant or Mason Graham would have been fantastic, right? I would have been cheering that pick as well. They decided to go the opposite route, and that's fine. But usually, you know, one of those tackles, if they drafted in the top 10-ish, they usually going to be like that sooner rather than later. But guys like Bohanna, guys like the Vanilla Gorilla, I love, was it Jay Toya? Is that how you say it? Or Jay Toya?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, Toya, yeah.
I do think he's got some pop, some knockback. I do think he has the ability to help there on a rotation in the run game. But you're right. We might have to slow our horses here because what's going to happen
and not
is
depend on him.
Yeah, we're going to exactly.
Because if you throw him out there too fast, bro, what's going to happen? It's going to destroy his confidence, right? You want to rotate him in there. You don't want to depend on him.
That boy,
and we going in there like,
I don't think his confidence is going to be shot. That boy is Samoan. He's from the islands, bro.
Yeah, but Psycho was too, and we both loved him, Sky.
He ain't
you
in
know
Dallas.
what I'm saying? We both love. But I'm just saying, I don't want to overstock that. You know what I'm saying? Like Island 340, he's still a rookie, and that's just one of those positions that takes steak, potatoes, and time. Straight up, it takes steak, potatoes, and time. And so I don't. You know the old saying, "Fool me once, shame on you." But how many times we go through this before we figure out the pattern that don't depend on rookie DTs? Even if you like them, don't depend on them. Get a vet and let's win this thing.
Let's stop it at don't depend on rookies. That's a whole other conversation. But I don't know if you're ready to have that conversation, boss. I don't know if you're ready to have that conversation.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. Don't depend on rookies.
Let's try to, if possible, man. I know you got a lot going on. Let's tag team that one. Let's do a duo show on that if we can, because that's a whole other conversation. But man, I'm glad you're back. I always love getting my daily bread from you in the mornings, man. Keep it up, brother.
Thank you, man. Boss Cowboys for Boss Cowboys Sport, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm glad he focused on the damn defensive tackle spot because that was just getting ignored leading up to the draft. Just getting ignored. You know, think about this for a second. It's going to be Mozzie Smith's third administration, right? Third administration. Flus is a different cat, too. You know? Flus is a different cat. And I think Jay's going to be, you know, in the rotation early. I think he'll make this team. Cowboys don't normally cut their guys. They cut one last year that they drafted and brought him back. But if Mozzie don't figure this out this year on his third administration, it's fair to think you're even in a worse off situation. I personally thought defensive tackle was more of a blinking light. You know, I mean, you could argue, I bet we got a receiver. Granted, I think you need more than one. I feel like we're the only fan base that believe, you know, or not fan organization. Let me say that. You could argue going into this draft, you didn't have a defensive tackle opposite. You didn't have one. Offensive line wise, if you wanted to really get down to the nitty gritty, there still was a need at right guard in the sense that you don't have a 5 to 10 year starter over there. Not every team does. Most good defenses got a one tech though. Most good defenses do. I don't care if you acquire him in free agency. I don't care if you acquire him in trade. I don't care if you acquire him in the draft. Most of them do. But the way the Cowboys move in the offseason put them in a position to where they went to the draft. They screaming all this BPA. The only reason why you BPA is because you got so many needs. Let's just cut it out. You're not BPA because you went out and signed a bunch of starters in free agency that's going to be here for 2, 3, 4 years. That's not what happened. You went out and did what you've done in previous years. Signed a bunch of 1-year deals. You hope you get, you hope these players are average at best. You hope that one of them, like a Dante Fowler, has a Robert Quinn-like year. You hope that busts like Elam and Peyton Turner, show up. A lot of hope. Not a lot of wish. A lot of hope. We hope no one is sitting at our seats. We hope because we're late to the concert that nobody's in our seats. We wish is what I want. We wish they sit at 4 and 5. We wish you try to run an A gap, B gap. We wish you try to double team CD Lamb. Yeah. We hope. Jonathan Domingo. We hope Mozzie Smith figures it out. We hope one of these cheap 1-year guys turns into Malik Hooker. Which, I like Malik, but that was such an unnecessary extension. That's all I'm saying, man. He ain't lying. Put some emphasis back on that damn that DT1 or NT1. Let me say that. NT1. Shouts out to Vach in the chat. Watch a superstar, man. I'll be so excited for my bro. You know, when he posted he was gonna be on the break, man. I'm watching. I love you, dog. I love this for you, man. I love this for you. All right. Lou said Hankins was crucial to Mozzie. Man, Hankins saved this thing from crumbling that year. And it wasn't like Hankins was, you know what I mean? I like Hank, respect Hank. I thought we should have brought him back. But, you know, he really, in 22, let me say this. He really saved them in that playoff game, man. I went back and watched that playoff game. We talked about it here with the film. You know, was Hankins a dominant DT that he used to be? He had a couple years he was like that. Nah, but that San Fran game, they wasn't running on the Cowboys like that. Not that game. Previous year, yes, not that game. And Hank had a lot to do with that. Had a lot to do with that. All right, we got a couple more. Let's wrap to Terrence. What's good, Terrence?
How you doing, Scott?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. I'm doing good. Yeah, doing good, man. Just over here in Washington State, enjoying this beautiful weather. But, yeah, let's just get to it, though. So, I'm going to say this. This draft, but they drafted these players, they not bad. You know what I'm saying? They not bad. They're not terrible. It's just that, bro, we've seen this already before, man. They always draft O-line. Second round, they always going to get D in. Just like y'all just said, it's really, we need damn D tackle. Because every time you get in the playoffs, you get ran over all the time. So when they drafted Thomas Booker, I said, okay then, I still would have took Golden over here. I still would have took Golden over him, but that's still fine. That's cool. But okay, what you gonna do next? You gonna sit around up in there in the pit, sit around, just wait, and you just gonna let people, these great players, fall to them and also pick them in front of you? You know, this happens all the time. Every time when it comes to that team, they gonna pick, like, say things like this, like the San Fran, they picked Alfred Collins right in front of Dallas. That was definitely a big need right there.
You know, like E-Rock? Is it Raku? The second round pick?
The second round pick? Oh, Alfred Collins.
No. I'm saying do you not like the second round? It sounds like you're not a fan of the second round pick because you wanted a different player. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, I'm cool with Easy, of course, but I rather would took a D tackle over him though.
Yeah, I was when we did our mocks, right? I was definitely looking at DT in that second round, but the weird thing was we played it out in our heads that if you took the O lineman first, then maybe receiver second, but they just completely took a receiver. It felt like off the board after round one. So yeah, I definitely would have tried to go DT. I can't remember how I played out there, but Donovan Izaraku, however you pronounce it. Sorry, my bad. E-Rock is what we call him, or Easy E. He was definitely at the top of those boards, though. He was, some people consider a first round pick, and he's coming in day one is going to give you immense pass rush juice. I said this on Twitter. He's already your best pass rusher from a tool bag standpoint and pure pass rushing standpoint of those second round picks that you brought in since 2022. Sam Williams, E-Rock, and Marshawn Nealon. He's better as a pass rusher than those two. So I think you definitely got one, but I feel you, brother, right? I would have loved a Tyreek Wood. Yeah. He went early. He went round one. Alfred Collins, 100%. Even Kenneth Grant, I would have been fine if they took him instead of Booker, right? So I feel you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Is the thing about this is you're going to have these great edges, but still, you still going to get ran over, though. That's the problem. So that's what I'm saying. But anyway, that's all good, whatever. But like I said, after the draft was over with, like I said again, same thing. I said they great. They say they're great players, but they still gonna have it. They're gonna still follow the same problem. I can see this. They're gonna still get run over this year, and they're gonna struggle at wide receiver. So it's and then we're gonna go back doing the same thing with these mock drafts, this and that. But they're gonna go back. But every time you're gonna go through history, they're gonna keep doing the same thing. Like 2022, draft the O-line, and then Sam Williams. Then even last year, drafted Tyler Guyton, and then drafted Marshawn Nealon. Just all you doing is drafting replacements. That's all they doing. So they moving the same. But it ain't no difference.
Yeah. I mean they're not drafting E-Rock to replace Nealon though. I think this is just a new regime. But I feel you. I posted this on on Twitter. I'm gonna try to find it and bring it up here on the screen. But I said the Cowboys, they have a pattern that they've shown lately, right? The offensive line, defensive end, offensive line, defensive end, offensive line, defensive end. 3 out of the last 4 years. That's been their pattern. It's strange, honestly, to see. I don't really know how to make any sense of it. And you could say, well, Sky, the trenches. Sure, but there's other ways to address the trenches. There's more unique ways to address it. It doesn't always have to be the first 2 picks in the first round. And also, it doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be defensive end in the second round every time. So, it is a weird way they move. And to be honest, to be fair to them, they've been put in a strange situation because those 3 drafts were 3 different regimes on the defensive side of the ball and 3 different offensive line coaches. Think about that for a second. Like, that is, I don't know how you can build cohesion, how you can build consistency if you're constantly changing out the voice in the O-line room, you're constantly changing out the voice at defense coordinator, you're constantly changing out the voice at the defensive line room. What happens is you just get a collection of random guys with some talent and some question marks, and you're like, all right, next coach, figure it out, right? And look, that happens in football, but at some damn point, though, right? You got to figure it out with the leadership, right? You got to figure it out with the coaches and then let them get into a groove. Dallas just hasn't been able to do that the last, 5 years. The McCarthy era in general, and it started off rocky. McCarthy and Kellen, it started off rocky.
It did. So it's like this is look, I will feel a lot more better with this team if they find somebody that's like how they did they traded to get Jonathan Hankins. Because I'm glad y'all mentioned that, because he was definitely he was definitely that guy that helped Barry stop the run. So if they can get somebody that can trade a D tackle, somebody in the league, they can do that. If they do that, and also too as well, and wide receiver two at this point right now, I say this, man, since they got the nuts to go do stuff like that, whatever, then go ahead and just get Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper. Bring both of them up in here. Then I'll feel better then.
Don't hold your breath.
Better with that.
Don't hold your breath, bro, Terrence.
Oh, yeah, I ain't going to hold breath. I'm just saying, like, shoot, they got to do something. Like, man,
I feel you, bro.
Because you cannot rely on Amari Cooper, because I already know Amari is not the same anymore. But I feel like to bring him. But not only just him, somebody else too as well. So and both of them in the 30s. So you know what I'm saying? Like, they shouldn't really cost you that much, because you don't want to pay nobody.
I think that part right there is the part they're concerned about. The age. I think for all the remaining wide receivers out there, I think they're concerned about the age. If you go look at their history, that's just not how they move at that specific position. They usually will make a move like that for defensive tackle, for defensive end. They don't mind, paying an older guy, not paying, but trading for an older guy at those spots. So hopefully they do. But at least with a Cooper or a Keenan Allen, you're not giving up assets, and you're likely going to pay them a 1 year, maybe 2 year deal. You're not paying them a lot, and you need to do something. Like you said, you need to do something. But this is what happens when you back yourself into a corner, right? And I said this going into the draft, that all this fighting amongst Cowboys Nation, and some of it was trolling and whatever, have fun with it. All this fighting is really the Joneses' fault. Like, let's focus our attention to them. They put you in a situation to have to pick between 3 positions, right? Do defensive tackle early? Do I do offensive line early? Do I wide receiver early? Do I do cornerback early? Do I do running back? Like, they put us in that position to fight in this manner, and we just kind of didn't see it. I mean, I tried to talk about it, but the Cowboys are still in the same position. They didn't address the receiver position. They really didn't address, starting DT nose tackle position. Did they necessarily address even I know Jay, and we'll see about the Maryland kid. I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm sorry. I'm not pumping up a 7th and 6th rounder to the point where, and I love Jay, but I'm not doing it. Let's get him out there. Let's see what happens. But they didn't make any moves at those positions to really generate positivity from the fan base in regards to veterans or early in the draft. So, yeah, we're still going to be fighting going on, because they got to go out and still make more moves.
And these D tackles, they develop, especially late round D tackles, they develop it into like 3 to 4 years. It takes time. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but then again, before I leave, man, that's why I said I still would have took Golden over Booker because I don't care if either is a reach or not, or if he be a bust or not. I still would have took Golden over Booker though. That's all I'm saying. And then second is, I said this was, I would rather just wait draft O-line next year first round. I don't care because they always draft O-line all the time, and anywhere you go, anywhere you be in the first round, it's always a stud O-line. It's always there. So
depending where you pick it and who you pick, because Tyler Guyton was the 7th offensive lineman taking it, and we had conversations about, we don't think that was a good pick at the time, but hopefully he develops into I hate to say it wasn't a good pick, but it was a project pick. Let me say that. It was a project 2025 pick is what I was calling it. So I wouldn't say anywhere in the first round. We've seen plenty misses, right?
Josh Simmons in the last one. He got Josh Simmons. Rashawn Slater, he came in all the way in the 20s with the Chargers.
Nah, Slater was higher. Slater was in the top 15, right? Top 15, I believe. Yeah, if you're picking in that top 15, unless you just that guy just completely flames, you're usually going to get a pretty damn good offensive lineman for the Cowboys. Like speaking for the Cowboys, but yeah, man, I don't necessarily think that was a bad idea moving the way you wanted to move in the sense of, hey, let me get my weapon in Golden, and let me address offensive line free agency like legitimately, not those band-aids you signed, a trade or maybe elsewhere in the draft, and rely on what I believe is going to be an upgrade with Clayton Adams, Connor Riley, and an improved scheme. I do think all those three of those aspects were going to improve the line and the blocking in general in the run game. But I mean, when you throw Tyler Booker in, that's just sugar on top, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. You have a good one, all right?
You too, man. Yeah, I mean, we haven't really even brought up the alternatives. I don't think I mentioned it at all. Cowboys Nation, I know we're talking about, let me bring up this graph for y'all real quick. Apologies. I haven't talked about the alternatives, right? The Egbuka, Golden, things like that. I think Tyler Warren might have still been on the. Are you there? Here we go. I think Tyler Warren might have still been on the clock, on the board. Kenneth Grant. Booker's here, but here's what I want to know from y'all. Whether you're pro Booker or not, okay? Booker gonna be all right. It's gonna be fine. If it wasn't Booker, who would you have picked? That's what I want to know. Even if you were Booker or nothing else, right? If it wasn't Tyler Booker, who would you have picked? I'm just curious. Let me pull this up real quick. Now I'll read some of y'all answers. Bow. This is what I wanted to bring up. Who would y'all have picked? Demetra said Easy E and Michael will be nasty. Yeah, man. Yeah. Look, and we'll talk about this in other shows. New regime. Some dudes ain't got sponsors no more. Like Marshawn Nealon. Granted, I don't think Marshawn Nealon is a non-scheme fit because I do think you need kind of that. I view Marshawn Nealon as a left defensive end, a traditional left defensive end. He was really a scheme fit with Mike. I'm not saying he's not a scheme fit here with Eberflus, but Izaraku is just, I think he's better. And they both were second round pick, so it's not gonna be a shocker if he beats him out. It's just you'll have smaller-ish tandem at the DE, but when that comes to that pass rush, boy, oh boy. All right, so let me see. Vosh said he talked to a source, and I can already know how Vosh did it. I don't got my button, but I know Vosh was probably like, I talked to a source. Don Juan DeMarco. Yeah, I didn't think they were looking at Warren either, but boy, that'd have been fun. Kenneth Grant, okay. Kenneth Grant, yeah, that's where I was looking at too. Obviously the receivers, come on, man. I was looking at Egbuka and Golden trade down, but Golden or Luther Burden, says Chris. Sully said would have tried to trade down. I definitely would have probably took a discount on the trade down and got one of my receivers for sure. Joe says Banks or Simmons. Banks was off the board. He went, I think, in the top 10. Josh Simmons. You know, Josh Simmons, without the injury, and it sounds like, and Vosh, you let me know what your peoples are saying. That sounds like that was a more serious injury than we believe. But he did not get taken in the third round. I think one of the callers said that. I want to say he got taken right at the Chiefs at the end of the round, right? Pretty sure. It's interesting because they took Savon Ravel, if I'm saying that correctly, but it was a third round pick, so I don't know if I should be making this comp. Injury guy. Maybe he's not ready for the season. Maybe he is. But Josh Simmons, though, arguably top 10 pick in this draft. If you're willing to wait on a first round talent like Ravel, then maybe you could have been willing to wait on a first round talent like Simmons. The problem is this is a tackle, right? And they were never, in my opinion, were never going to give up on Tyler Guyton that fast. So Booker made more sense in getting here right now, not really mess up everything. And in regards to moving high picks or commitments monetarily to the bench, I just don't think they would have done that. But they did mention that, hey, maybe we'll look at Tyler Smith at tackle, which I don't think they should do that. No, I don't think they should do that. Yeah, and there was that off the field stuff. Okay, so they were just out on him in general. Character, there's off the field, and we brought that up in the mock draft. Oh yeah, no, we don't want that much. I said this to y'all last year or whenever it was, a couple years ago. If you don't love the game, don't want you here. Dallas had missed too many of those red flags. Now, we'll see with Sam. It seems like Sam missing action has motivated him. We'll see. Boss man was probably the easiest red flag you could envision. And they still want what I'm trying to bank on the talent, but missed on that. Randy Gregory. The list goes on. 336 and then 843. I don't know if 929 is still here, but we'll see. And then we'll go ahead and wrap it up from a call standpoint. Get back to the chat. 336, you live. Uh-oh.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You live. What's up?
What's up, Still? This is my third time on here. I just want to say congratulations. I talked to Vouch, and I'm happy for him, too.
Oh, man. So happy for my brother. But thank you, sir.
Look, what I was saying is that the Cowboy fans and us, we so traumatized. But I think that Booker pick was a good pick. I think we could have got him if we would have moved back. But me being a football coach, me being a Dallas fan, when Jimmy Johnson came in, you build the offensive line and the defensive line. That's how you build championship teams. One thing I do like that I see that's new with the Dallas, they building a culture. You know, I can see our new head coach, Brian, I can see his hands all over it. So people saying that we ain't going to be able to stop the run. But last year, we were the second team in the league with the most injury. And coming down the stretch, we started playing good. We almost won 8 games. So when I look at the draft pick, the kid coming out of Boston College, he led the ACC in sacks. He could have easily been either the second or third best defensive end in the draft. And the corner.
According to some people, he was right up there.
Yeah, and the corner coming out of North Carolina that played for ECU, one of the best corners in the league. That was a steal. And then when you look at the running back coming out of Georgia, we got him in the 7th. He played hurt with a hurt shoulder, still had 1,000 and some yards.
Yeah, I don't think anybody I don't think anybody thinks this wasn't a good draft. I think the Cowboys had a good draft, right? I mean, there's some people so pissed off at the Tyler Booker pick and maybe taking an injured guy in the third that they're ignoring that. I thought this was an A draft here if we're talking about actual grades, but yeah. Right.
Well, I like Tyler Booker because if you notice his attitude, sometimes when you build a team, Michael Irvin, he had the attitude for that 90s team. You need an attitude. You need somebody who got some leadership. Booker don't only bring that blocking ability, but he bring that attitude, that love for football, and that will to want to win. So when people look at the team, they got to look at the culture. I like the way we going this year. I like the way we building the team. I like the coaches that we have in there. I like the players. And on the free agency about the second wide receiver, I like Luther. But who I don't want to get is I don't want to get Amari Cooper. Yeah, I like Luther Burns.
Luther Burton, big Luther or little Luther?
The little one. The one out of would he come out of Missouri?
Yeah, he's not a free agent though. He was in the draft.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That would have been my first pick.
Oh, okay.
If I didn't
I
pick
was
Booker.
confused. I'm sorry. You said Speaking of free agency, I like Luther. And I was like, Vandro?
That would have been my first pick.
Okay.
My fault. Yeah, but what I was saying is, please don't take Amari Cooper, man. I like Pickens. I like what's my man? He came out of Maryland. He played for Chicago. What's his name?
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. Yeah, I like DJ Moore. I like more of a young. We got a young team.
DJ
I
Moore.
like more of a.
He'd be perfect, bro.
Yeah, DJ Moore. He came out of Maryland University.
Yeah, he'd be a
I think that'd be a better fit.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, DJ Moore would be a perfect fit. Let me fix both.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Still. You want Amari Cooper back?
Yes, sir. I do.
Why his numbers went down?
Yeah, I'm not so worried about the numbers. I watched him. He still can get separation. Still a fantastic route runner. He knows the city. He wants to be in the city, or he wanted to. He never wanted to leave. He has a rapport with Dak Prescott. But with me wanting Amari Cooper, I don't think that's the end all be all. He doesn't come with warts, right? Like, hey man, we know he struggled in some cold weather games. He's not the rah-rah guy. He ain't gonna be a leadership guy in the sense of talking much. More reserved, more Marvin Harrison during game day than he is Chad Ochocinco or somebody, right? That's just not who he is. So I get he comes with some warts, injuries, things like that, but. Hey, man, beggars can't be choosers right now. If you ask me, do I want to roll out there with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Jalen Tolbert at 3, or CeeDee Lamb, the Jalen gang, the Jalen Firm, and Mingo? I'm going to tell you, I want the first one.
Let me ask you a question. Do you like the I want to ask you a question. How do you feel about the running back from Texas?
Love him. When we talk about my favorite picks, like, I'm just trying to be fair. Jayden Blue is probably my favorite pick of the entire draft because we finally got some juice, ladies and gentlemen, at that position. I say finally, we had Tony Pollard here, but I think that with the combination of the talent that he is, the role he'll play with the coaching, with the philosophy, I think they're going to intentionally use him. Man, he's a weapon, bro. He's a weapon. What, 14 touchdowns last year as a part-timer? Come on, man. He can take it to the crib anywhere.
Don't remind you of Tony Pollard?
Tony Pollard with a jetpack on his back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tony Pollard and think about when TP was healthy. That motherfucker was fast, but put a jetpack on his back. Yeah. And I got a lot of not pushback, but a lot of fans were like, hey, fumbling. Look, man, I'm not trying to diminish the importance of holding on to the ball. He can't fumble.
Right.
But if Jayden Blue give me 9 touchdowns next year and 3 fumbles, I'm living with it. I'm living with it. Just look, Blue. Just don't fumble in the playoffs like DeMarco Murray. You know what I'm saying? And then gradually get better at it. But boy, I can live with that fumbling problem if he gives me 14 tutties. Who we talking about here? He had 14 touchdowns last year.
Hey, Still, I want you to mark this on your show. We will win 9 to 10 games next year.
I mean, I thought you were about to say, like, we about to win 14, right? 9 to 10 games.
No.
My man said, mark it down. Nah. You heard it here first. Dallas finna be 9 and 7.
Or 10, or what's your prediction?
I don't do my bad, bro. I don't really do those in May, but this one is tricky, bro, because for so many years I've always said this. If the Cowboys can just avoid catastrophic injuries, they're going to be a double-digit win team, and they'll be in the playoffs. Like, and that's what happened for 4 or 3 of the 5 seasons that McCarthy was here. It's a weird one, man. This is a weird one because I just think they could have been better in how they built the roster. This is not to diminish the draft. Dak is if he wasn't already, he's officially injury prone, right? They do have do have Milton behind him. New coaching staff. This one's tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. I need some time. Let's see how they continue to fill out this roster. Because right now in May, I don't think no team is complete, but I don't think they're near enough complete for me to predict the same predictions I've had in years past, which was, hey man, avoid catastrophic injury. They're gonna be double-digit win team. I feel like if I use that same base, I have to then say, hey man, if they avoid catastrophic injury, they'll be competitive.
Right.
And that's not good for me. Like damn, it went from being double-digit win playoff squad to they'll compete. Like that's right now, that's where I'm at. We got to see how they finish this roster.
Right. One thing I want to say this. I want to say I respect your opinion. I watch your show all the time. So it's only a couple of people that I look at that I really respect their football knowledge, and you one of them. I want to say this too. When I look at this team, for the first time in a long time, ever since I've been watching Cowboys and been a Cowboy fan, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones been picking the head coach and putting the staff around the head coach. This is the first time I've seen the head coach since Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells come in and pick their own staff. So that should be a good look for us.
No, you are not lying about that. That's something I pointed out like right away in one of the shows a few months ago was for the first time since maybe when JG first got on board, it feels like there is no politicking going on from a coaching standpoint. Like Shoddy's getting his guys, and you hear Jerry like excited about it. Jerry like, yeah, man, and you know when Shoddy told me he wanted to get and he went and got him, and it's the best thing that could happen. Jerry like, yeah, man, I'm excited that he's picking these dudes because you know now that's not to say that McCarthy didn't get his guy on defense and it failed in Mike Nolan, but at the same time, Jerry Jones said you finna get Kellen Moore. So for the first time, I do think you will not have that kind of you won't have this weird buffer in the middle between offensive head coach and play caller, right? Like Clayton Adams even brought this up. Clayton Adams said, and this is why Shoddy's just a good dude, man. Shoddy told Clayton, look, I know where you're coming from if you accept this role. I know how being an offensive coordinator who is not calling plays, it's different, right? It's different. So he kind of explained to him how he wanted this thing to go so there is no issues. And Clayton never called plays. Maybe he wants to at some point, but Clayton is an offensive line specialist, and he's going to help put game plans together. So there is no confusion here. Whereas Kellen Moore, they told McCarthy, Kellen's calling plays. There's nothing you can do about it. McCarthy tried to implement this Texas coast weird little thing with Kellen's offense and his offense worked to an extent, but in reality, it wasn't a playoff offense. And then when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, one of the things that I pointed out was that we forget under the McCarthy era, not only did we have 3 different defensive coordinators in 5 years, but you had so many different defensive assistant coaches being brought in with holdovers from the previous regime. You know how confusing that can be for a coach and for players are hearing all types of different things. And the next year, coach is teaching it. It was no cohesion. There's cohesion defensively now. There's cohesion offensively now. Now we just gotta get them boys to partake in, the trades and free agency a little bit better. But from a coaching standpoint, yeah, man, it should be a clean. It should be clean on game days. It should be clean in the game plan room. When I say clean, there's going to be pushback, but there's going to be no biting of the tongues, right? Shoddy had to bite his tongue so many times because Shoddy ain't from the West Coast. Shoddy looking at how Coach McCarthy putting this thing together, not implementing things that are working around the league when Shoddy is telling them and screaming to him, hey, man, You might want to include some more pre-snap stuff. You might want to include some more movement. You might want to include X, Y, Z.
Right.
You won't have that anymore. Clayton Adams comes from that. Shotty has the ability to adapt to that. So you're absolutely right. You know, everybody should be on the same page.
I want to say this. It's the last thing. One thing I like about Shotty that people ain't looking, he brought everybody together. He brought not only just the coaches, but the people that do the food, the people in the facility. He brought everybody together. And how you build a good football team with everybody is in sync. And I just think I'm listening to different players saying that he a kind of coach to make you run through the wall for him.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe something special is about to happen. I think Shotty going to do something special in Dallas. And I'm thinking, like, you're going to see it this year, but by year 2 or 3, it's going to be special. I just believe that.
From your lips to the football guys' ears, brother. Appreciate the call, man.
What you say?
I said
Thank you.
Yep. I said from your lips to the football guys' ears. Good stuff. Yeah, I do think Shotty is more Dan Quinn than Mike McCarthy. He's more Dan Quinn than Kellen Moore. And I'm just speaking of coaches that were here. He's more Dan Quinn. JG was he had some Dan Quinn in him, but people ain't really fool with JG like that. Everybody's going to love Shotty. And that's when he got hired, before he got hired. And you know, we were talking about during the season. I was like, man, I'd make a move right now. I'd fire Mike, and I give Shotty interim look to audition for it in the same way they did Jason Garrett. And it wasn't because I thought Schottenheimer was the next, Sean McVay. It's just that I thought he had a different energy to him. He had a Dan Quinn type of energy to him. You can hear him when he speaks. He's very smart. He felt like at the time, before we heard him speak in the manner from a head coach standpoint, that he could take charge of a room, man. He can get these guys to play for him, not just out there playing, and he's the guy, the voice in their head. I hear voices in my head. Yeah, that's McCarthy. Chewing on his donuts. Nah, I ain't gonna do that to coach. I ain't gonna do that. I don't think you'll have a problem with, but you'll hear, I don't think you'll hear Schottenheimer after a playoff game say, hey, man, they were nervous. That's on us. They wasn't prepared. They wasn't ready, I don't think you'll hear Shotty say that. But ultimately, you're going to need those dudes above him to help him too. Right? I hear a lot of the culture. Like that word is starting to pop up again. Culture. Culture starts at the top. I don't know how many culture changing players you got to bring in here or oh man, this player going to change the culture, man. He bring this dog mentality. And look, Booker, a damn dog. We've had dogs. We've had guys with this type of mentality. But the actual culture of an entire organization starts at the very tippy top. Whether that's you getting the hell out the way, right? Or if you're going to want to put your hands in certain things, all right, well, then hire the right people. And then you take the credit for hiring those people. Get the hell out the way, man. Shouts out to the heavy hitters up in here. We have Vach already. Foots the King, Brother Foots. I'll be jumping on his show. We'll be talking more Schottenheimer at some point. Miss Parsons, Miss Sharice was in the building. Boss came through. Joey Ikes. I was supposed to talk about Joey months ago about free agency. We'll get you back on here, Joey. We had Joey pop in here some time ago when we were looking into coaches. Appreciate y'all, man. All right, couple more. Let me see something real quick. It's 929. You back or no? All right, we're going to get him up out of here. Maybe he just want to listen on the phone. I'll keep you here, but I ain't bringing you back. 843, close us out.
Hey, Skywalker.
What's going on,
How we doing, man? Shout out to you, Watch the King. Law Nation.
Watch the King, yeah, man.
Oh, man, Watch doing his thing, man. He's all over, man. But I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep me entertained during the off season. So I sit in my office in the daytime and I watch your podcast. I listen to you live. So thank you for all you guys, all your content makers. Thank you for what you do. First thing, I want to get it. Hello?
Yep, I got you. Thank you, brother.
Hello? Okay.
first thing I want to get at, every yard, the most direct way to a quarterback is right up the middle. And we lost a Hall of Fame guard, Zach Martin.
Mm-hmm.
So
he wasn't a Hall of Fame guard, Zach Martin, the last couple years, but yeah, we've been missing that kind of dominant presence for a couple years now.
All right, I mean, for a man who had more, I mean, how many holding calls he had during his career? I mean,
he has more All-Pros or as many All-Pros as he has holding calls, which is crazy.
So I think he had less than 12 holding calls.
I feel like it was like 7. I think 7 just in general, which is absurd.
That's just crazy. So it's a safe bet he'll probably make it to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, 100%. I'm just saying he wasn't the Hall of Famer the last few years is all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, the injuries just caught up to him.
Right, yeah.
But at first, I wasn't a big fan of the Booker trade because I see the workload they put on C.D. Lamb, and C.D. Lamb was a warrior last year. I mean, those last 2 games, he really shouldn't have been played, but he still was out there. And I'm thinking the wear and tear is going to start to catch up with C.D. Lamb. So, me personally, I would have loved to have Ibuka from Ohio State.
Y'all crazy. I mean, yeah, I would have been throwing a party with Ibuka too. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I'm worried about C.D. Lamb, man. I mean, it's just the wear and tear they put on.
Hey,
that being said,
hold on, that's actually a point I haven't even thought about. But yeah, we did witness last year, putting so much on CD for the first time in his career. It affected him. Now he still was getting busy, and he, like you said, he probably shouldn't have been playing, but they were still in contention. They weren't eliminated yet, and when they got eliminated, what happened? Shut his ass down. Yeah, so that's something to take note of, right? CD, while he's in the gym, he gets in good shape and things like that. We're not talking about Calvin Johnson or AJ Brown in that sense. He's a little thin for his size, a little wiry more than he is bulky. So yeah, we don't want CD. Look, I want CD to get the ball. I want CD to have 100 catches and things like that. But yeah, it's not a bad idea if you get somebody oppo CD that can get you, legitimately 75, 80 receptions, 1,000 yards, 10 tutties. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, because
landlord from Skywalker.
I'm thinking maybe because I'm thinking we could have worked Blue, even though we brought him in as a running back. Maybe we could work him into the passing game also. I mean, that'll be that speed that they were talking about with Golden. I like Golden, but he only produced for 1 year, and I don't know with the way the scheme that Washington and Philadelphia plays, dropping that too deep safety, will that speed really come off? Because those guys just dropped their safety so far back.
You outrun that that motherfucker. Yeah, speed will help. If the speed puts so much fear in, you want to drop back even deeper. Guess what? That middle of the field wide open for a guy like a Jake Ferguson, or wide open for whoever your wide receiver 3 is to come underneath, or CD Lamb to run that a dagger concept or something. Yeah, speed gonna back him up.
Yeah, but me, I'm thinking. You guys mentioned that about two or three callers earlier. I remember that Arizona butt whipping they gave us a couple of years ago.
Sure.
And I'm looking at that, and I'm saying if we can incorporate that, we've invested in our offensive line for the last 3 years. We've invested in our tight ends.
Look, here's I think where wires are being crossed, man. Here's where I think wires are being crossed. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is happening far too often.
No.
Why are we living in a world of either or? Serious question.
Clarify.
Why are we living in a world of either we are this overly aggressive run team or we're this overly aggressive passing team? I feel like that's all we talk about is living in this world of either or. Why can't we be the Eagles in that sense? Why can't we be the Detroit Lions in that sense? Why can't we be when the San Francisco 49ers were firing all cylinders, they were equally as dangerous. Why can't we be the Packers? They don't even got a wide receiver 1, but they were equally as dangerous if Jordan Love wasn't out here being crazy. But the Rams at one point, right, they could run the ball, but they also were dangerous throwing the ball. Like, I maybe it's because we've been conditioned. Maybe it's because of the front office. Maybe it's because this is just what we're used to. But we are living in a world of either or. We don't have to do that. We don't have to say, hey, man, I want to be the Cardinals with what's his name, the Pastronaut. I want to be the Cardinals who don't have a respectable passing game, but we're going to run the ball. Or I want to be the high-flying, Rams of 99. Why can't we live in a world where we have balance is all I'm asking. That's all. I feel like all the conversation is we got to be one or the other. Am I tripping?
Well, I'm thinking Dak has his shortcomings.
Yeah, sure.
Dak plays better.
So that means we shouldn't be balanced?
Don't get me wrong. We could be balanced, but I think every team needs an identity. If our identity is going to be tough offensive line, pound the ball, pound the rock, but we just don't have the wide receivers, and we didn't address it in the draft. We have to have wide receivers that can take the top off, which we don't have right now. But
I mean, we don't
if we
have to
have
we don't have to have a receiver that takes the top. I mean, you're just talking about Golden, but there's other options, whether it be the draft or free agency or trades, where they're not 4-2-5 Blazers. You don't have to have that. I mean, you don't have to have that. You can have a complementary piece though to CeeDee Lamb. You can have a complementary, and not even just complementary like player, just the passing game being better. Like that's the other thing. Like the passing concepts were garbage. Like that was garbage.
Yeah. I mean, McCarthy, he couldn't scheme his way out of a bag.
Oh.
And I'm hoping that's what Schottenheimer is able to do. I mean,
I think he will.
Go ahead and set up better offensive schemes. I mean, use more motion. I mean, we underutilized Turpin. I think when we said, I said we didn't draft anybody, but hopefully we could use Blue, we could use Turpin to, stretch that defense and make everything wide open in the middle. That being said, Ferguson and I forgot Ferguson, our second year tight end from Michigan. I forgot his name.
Schoolmaker.
But those guys got to step up. Schooner, yeah. Those guys got to step up this year because Schooner, you invested a second round draft pick in a tight end.
Yeah.
And we're not getting anything from him.
Well, brother,
so,
I feel like that was
that was
a lost cause as soon as they took him because I never thought he was better than Ferg. So it's like he's going to be tight end too probably the entire time Ferg is here, and that was just a silly pick, man.
You're right. It wasn't a well. I mean, I like our draft. I like Blue. I like Toya. I mean, even though he's a 7th-round pick out of UCLA, I think he's going to be pushing Marzi. Another guy who has to step up from Michigan. I mean, our Michigan draft picks going to have to start stepping up. If they don't produce this year, they got to go.
Yeah, I mean that's the reality. That I mean, every player has to step up from every team. But I think the problem is we put too much pressure on that. Like that, we emphasize that too much. All right, well, because we're not doing XYZ like the rest of these championship organizations. Hey, man. Our 7th-round pick got to step up. Hey, man. Or tight end 2 got to miraculously be an actual weapon. Hey, man. Or 5th-round pick. Like, I hate that we have to do that, but that's the world we live in as Cowboy fans because we know they're not going to be aggressive like other organizations.
Well, just like you said earlier, the culture and everything starts from the top.
Yep.
Our coaching staff is going to have to win in spite of the.
You must have been listening to my show, brother. You've been listening, because that's my. I'm about to get a damn shirt made. We gonna have to. Coaching's gonna have to win in spite of the front office, and sometimes the damn players gonna have to win in spite of the coach, and that's been the moniker for 30 years, bro.
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, with the ownerships what they're saying and doing, we like our guys. Guess what? Well, guess what? Our guys gonna have to. The job's gonna have to get done in spite of the idiocy of our bosses. I mean. They're not bringing in the correct workers. They're not bringing in everybody what we need, our free agency and everything. And you know what? We're going to have to get the job done in spite of it.
And my last question to end this here, how many championship organizations do you know work that way in the NFL?
None.
Okay.
None.
Okay.
But,
nothing's going to change. The ownership's not going to change.
No, you're right.
You're looking at the Joneses owning this team for the next 50 years.
No, you're right. Which is why I'm always like, hey, man, lightning in a bottle. We got to catch it. It has to be right. And I do think this staff, we just need a little nudge. I'm not asking for those dudes above this staff to go crazy. Just a little nudge, man. And, hey, man, maybe we'll catch that lightning. Maybe we'll catch that lightning. But appreciate the call, man.
All right, no problem, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Did he call that man Schooner? Y'all going crazy in the chat, by the way. Shouts out to y'all. Y'all going crazy with the names. This is very clever. Definitely called him Vach the King. I mean, he is a king. He a king, right? But I think he meant Foots the King and Vach and Bar. I know what he meant, but y'all funny as hell. Schooner the Gooner is wild. Vach Broadus. Man, we hear that a lot. There's some good ones. Let me read some of these ones. For those who don't know, he called Vach the King. He meant Foots the King. Footwalker Steel. Oh, let's go. Footwalker Steel. Yo, wow. Let me see. Henny the Skywalker Tuck. I don't know what you could levitate Henny the Skywalker. Shouts out to Henny, man. Henny been killing it. Henny funny as hell. If y'all not following him on Twitter, bro, yo, he's so unfiltered. What's funny about him is he say what you really want to say to these fools on the interwebs. Henny don't give. He don't. Henny funny. Okoye Nation. Yeah. Vach Lombrodicus. Angry Skywalker. Oh, y'all, you wow. Angry Skywalker Nation fan talk. Y'all crazy with these names, man. Y'all crazy with this one. It's been a good one, though. Look, do me a favor. You guys, please hit the like button over here on YouTube if you enjoyed today's show. For those over on Twitter, appreciate you guys. I'm gonna be streaming more on Twitter. Just cause, obviously we didn't do that with the other companies. Something had happened, but we're back doing it. Well, I shouldn't say back. We're starting it here on this channel. I want to do it more often. I think it's cool to kind of bring the Twitter crowd over on YouTube, see how we roll. And hey, man, if you like what you see, there'll be times, obviously, I'm not streaming on Twitter. There'll be times I'm dropping actual videos on the channel. So if you are on Twitter, you enjoy what you see, come on over, sub up, right? Put the notification bell on. And when we drop some content, you will be informed if YouTube act right. The Law Lombardi. Hey, that could have been a cold name, though. Twyman said, who's running back one to me right now? Hey, man, that room might be a little biased here. So, Twyman, let me ask you, before I answer this question, you know me, I'm always diving a little deeper. When you say running back one, do you mean who I think the best running back is, or who I think the starter is? Like, and it's because look, ain't no lead like 20 carry back. So we're talking about at the very least a tandem, right? We're talking about a potential committee at this current moment. So Twyman, let me get a little bit more information from you. You asking me who the best running back is, or are you asking me who the starting running back is? And I'll try to catch what you're saying here, because I think there's two different answers. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just answer my damn self. I think Jaden Blue is the most talented back. I don't think he should be the starter. Right? I think he works perfectly in tandem, in a specific role that doesn't involve him being the starting lead back. Who that starter is, he may not be on the roster, or it's going to be a competition for it. I think Maffa, who I really like too, as a kind of a part of a committee, part of a tandem. I don't really need him to be 20 carry guy, but he can be get downhill, physical guy. I think he could snatch that from a Javonte Williams if he's healthy and back to who he is. But also, is it out the question to think that a 7th round running back isn't going to do that? No. And if that's the case, Javonte Williams is going to be that guy. I think I saw you in the chat. I think you're a big Miles Sanders guy. Not a fan. In the sense that Miles Sanders it's my best back. I just don't think Miles. I mean, just from the no, it's the Panthers, y'all. So it's really hard, right? It really is. But if you can give me Miles Sanders, early rookie Miles Sanders, I might even ask him for Miles Sanders that rush for like 1,300 behind the Eagles line. But I don't think he's that guy. I honestly, if Miles Sanders actually makes this team over the other dudes, that says more to me about the room than it says about him. Straight up. You know what I mean? Shouts out to my bro Twan in the building. He said Clemson, the running back from Clemson is my guy. Phil Maffa. Yeah, we gonna talk about him too, man. I'm gonna have to really. We did all the picks except day 3. I think the 7th rounders last year, the 6th and 7th rounders. But I definitely want to focus on Jay and Phil during this whole situation. Jaden, Savon, and Donovan will be, we'll rock with them too. So Donovan Izaraku was up next for our rating the draft series. But I definitely do want to get to the bottom couple picks. Twyman said, "Damn, Daniel understood." Yeah, man, I don't know, bro. I can't see it. I don't see it. Hey, look, I could be totally wrong. Maybe I'm missing some games. Maybe I just skimmed through it when it came to Miles Sanders. But I felt like I didn't come away impressed with Miles Sanders. If you got some games that you need me to check out from last year that will give me confidence in Miles Sanders, shoot them my way. I don't act like I got the answers here. This running back room is interesting, but I hope that it falls. I hope when it's all said and done, this is the room. I shouldn't say room, but this is the 1-2 we got here, man. I would love for it to be, some combination of Maffa and Javonte Williams as that sledgehammer, and then Jaden Blue. Like, I can live, given what we have to deal with, right? I can live with Maffa and Javonte Williams as your kind of thunderbacks, and then Jaden Blue as that guy. Maybe you can get Deuce on the practice squad. That's kind of where I want it. Twan said, my question is Clark going to make this team? I don't see how. I don't see how either, bro. I feel like they drafted Clark's replacement. I can't explain that. In fact, I don't know if Vach is still in here. Trap asks, can you explain the jump for Shamar James? I can't explain it, but Vach might be able to because he's in the building. He's talking to guys. Remember, this is if I can give a little bit of an explanation, and I'm pretty sure they talked about it on the show. This is a new regime. This regime is going to like who they like. So all these linebackers in the room outside of the ones you brought in free agency don't come from that regime. There's no sponsors. And with Shamar James, he gives you some downhill ability, which here's what's interesting for me. He's a phenomenal blitzer. But Eberflus is not a blitzing defensive coordinator. Right? Like, that's not his game. Flus doesn't really want to have these guys flying in that sense consistently. He's actually usually on the lower end of the spectrum from a blitzing standpoint, right? Now, you want these guys flowing and being able to be athletic or smart enough in a Jack Sanborn way to fire downhill, make some TFLs or make some stops at the line of scrimmage. But I'd have to do some more digging on Shamar James on that one. Not sure why they jumped. This could be a situation like Eric Scott. Remember, they traded future picks to jump to go get Eric Scott, but that never panned out. But that was the new regime. That's who they wanted. They felt that, hey, this is a guy who has traits that we like, and we feel like we can develop. Sadiki said they gave up a receiver to jump to James. At that point in time, I don't think you were getting a receiver that was really going to move the needle, though. BJ says, Sky, can we do something about our tired ass safeties? I hope they open up the competition this year. This is no knock. I know you said they tired. If I had to use the word tired, I do think that Malik is more on the tired side. But I think Donovan, he has a specialty skill set. But I'm ready. I'm ready to let the other Bucks compete at that position, like legitimately. Legitimately compete. Y.A. Thomas, Marquise Bell, let them boys compete, man. I think there's something there. Is Ravel Diggs replacement? Diggs don't get his mental right, but I don't think that's. I think that's more of a backup plan. You legitimately needed a corner, man. Like you needed a guy that can play oppo of Diggs so that Bland can go. I think that's the plan here. If Diggs comes back, you're going to bump Bland back into the slot. Not saying that I want him there in general. I think he's great there, but obviously he was an all-pro on the edge. But I think he fits I think he fits this scheme, Eberflus's scheme, extremely well in the slot. He can run fit. He has the size. He ain't afraid to stick his nose in there. He's physical in that sense, and he has the twitch. And he showed you he can play in the slot. And then Ravel has that length and that stupid athletic ability to play outside, getting your chest. Yeah, could he slide inside? Sure, but I think you'd rather go with a guy that's done it before, and then let Ravel and Diggs live on the outside. So I don't necessarily think he is a replacement unless Diggs just F's it up. I think you need 3 corners. That's all. I think you need 3 corners. Yeah, the Guru, from my understanding, from following and looking into Flus, he's not a blitzer. He will, obviously they all blitz strategically, especially at the slot corner. But yeah, he's not a heavy blitzer. If you go look at his blitz rate, he's usually at best like middle of the pack. At best, middle of the pack. I'd like to see more Wanye, says the Guru. Same here. Give him a shot. We're going to have a show about that. We usually do. When I was going 5 days a week, we talked about all this, and I'll try to get back, not 5 days probably, but streaming more, because I love streaming with you guys. Where when you look at the draft, what veterans did it affect? And veterans can be, young veterans, third-year players, etc. What veterans did it impact? Trap Hawk says, I think Diggs and Sam better step up or they will be free agent casualties. Diggs is not going to be a free agent casualty. I tell you that. I don't think Sam is going to be a free agent casualty. I will say this, Trap Hawk. A guy like Sam definitely needs to find his footing because he's on the last year of his deal. And between the off-field stuff and then obviously he got injured last year, he does not have sponsors in the building aside from the draft pedigree of the Joneses. Yeah. He definitely got to take that leap. I don't think he's in the future plans though. So what's best for the Cowboys is Sam just snaps in a good way, right? Sam gives you 8 to 10 plus sacks, meaningful ones. Sam sets the edge. He's a wonderful rotational piece. Hell, maybe he takes the starting job, right? And then he goes off in free agency and gets his bag. But I don't think he's in the plans for the future. I think that's E-Rock. Tech said, a good question. Do you think our run-stopping defense is up to par with our pass-rushing defense? No. I don't even think it's particularly close. I mean, you got a pretty nasty like pass rush lineup. And when you got Micah, E-Rock, Osa Digizua, Dante Fowler, a healthy Sam Williams, you'll get something from Marshawn Nealon. I wouldn't necessarily put him in that kind of pass rush realm yet, but you don't have anything close to that from a run stopping standpoint. If we're talking about defensive line, like no, it's not even like if there's a significant gap in regards to that, which you're hoping for if they don't go out and address the defensive tackle position even more. You're hoping that Eberflus' scheme helps, because if you go look at traditionally, Eberflus everywhere he's been, historically he's had a solid run defense. He's got the best out of all these linebackers, right? So I think that's what they're leaning on. Chat, you better love Streetwood. Yeah, I hear you all. I missed him too, T-Jack. And look, it's all discombobulated right now in regards to my schedule, but as this thing, especially once we get to camp, there will be more. I don't want to say daily streams. I don't think we'll be doing 5, but we'll definitely be streaming more. So that's on me. I apologize. A lot of different things happening personally. The move from Texas to here, and then obviously for those who don't know, shouts out to the new people here. I am back with the volume, producing a show over there, which I have to admit, y'all, I love it. I love it a lot. I do, and I'm hoping that opens up more doors in that specific realm. But I'm enjoying it. I ain't forget about y'all, hence why I'm still here. Don't get it twisted. But I love what I'm doing over there with the volume. Shouts out to Dion. Shouts out to Bub. Shouts out to those over there at the volume. At least 3. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Dro. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see. Regular season, though, boy, I'm be back. Back. Lemitra said, I want Will Hernandez. You think it's possible? Bro, hey, Lemitra, they signed about 10 guards. I don't think I'd have to say no on Will. Not that I wouldn't welcome him, but I mean, you signed so many guards. They had a chance to sign Will Hernandez, who worked with Clayton Adams, and I'm gonna defer to Clayton. You were there with Will Hernandez for 2 years. I thought for sure Will Hernandez they were gonna pick that phone up. You said no. And you went out and got not Miss Sadiqa Charles, but Sadiq Charles, who quit. So something must be up, man. Hey, T-Jack, but you know what's crazy, T-Jack? He said Sky, producer at heart. T-Jack, and I'll tell this story to people who don't know me. A lot of this stuff is self-taught. I didn't go to school to be a producer. I didn't even get into this to be a producer. It just, the love of it kind of took over. And I do love producing as much as I do love doing the on-air stuff. So I wouldn't say I'm a producer at heart. I wouldn't say that, T-Jack, but I will tell you this. I love this shit, man. I love this shit. And it's opened some doors. So there's that. Joey said Izzy is nickel 1. I think right now, probably. Hey Joey, and let me say this publicly, Joey, or to you. I've said it to them already. Me personally, man, not a fan of Izzy and the nickel when it comes to having to deal with the twitchy guys. But a lot of big nickel nowadays too. Big nickel, cool. In the sense of big nickel receivers. The power nickel, I think is what they call it, or power slot. That's what it is, power slot. Cool. Not a fan of the twitchy guys. But, and you hope that Izzy, and I think Izzy found his physicality after year 1. Izzy rookie year, you go look at some of the film, you're like, hey, dog, you ain't no safety because you ain't as physical. But then year 2, he showed some physicality. So I ain't mad if Izzy's the nickel right now, Joey. But I would like to see that play out a little bit more. That's all. I would like to see it play out a little bit more. You 6'4", man. It's hard to be twitchy, man. Them hips, it's hard to get them turning, dealing with some of those Christian Kirk types. But those Chris Godwin types, yeah, 100%. 100%. I do think he probably is nickel 1 right now, although I'd like to see the rookie Carson, see what he can do in there. Also, I don't believe him that much. He has a 1-year deal, so I do want to explore that more. Oh, another series we got coming up this offseason, usually when it gets slow, is our not our hindsight series, but our something along the hindsights. I'm having a brain fart. State of the Unit. Our State of the Unit series, where we will dive into all these conversations we're having, but we're going to look at every single last player and talk about each unit, each player, and the whole of the position. I usually like to wait till once we get into that dead period because you get more free agent signings, UDFAs, all that stuff. So stick around for that too. All right. I kept y'all for super overtime. Appreciate y'all coming through this morning. All the new people, please hit that like button, subscribe, and we will be back. When? You just got to hit that button, figure out when. But look out for me rocking with Foots at some point. I don't know if it's this week or next week. We'll get Vach on here too. We've been talking to him. We want to get some work in on his channel too, right? If he can get me in there, because Broadus would be like, hey, get out the way, man. Get in here, man. Because him and Broadus is killing this thing. So many nuggets on that damn show. So many nuggets. With that said, let me go ahead and press this button.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Before, though, I press the other button. Let me make sure I ain't miss any of the other super chats. Don't want to do that to y'all. Don't want to do that to y'all. I feel like we got to most of them, but let me just see. Let me just make sure. Yep. We good. Appreciate what we got here. Bleeding Blue, Sadiqa. Shout out Miss Angel. I didn't see that one. She said, shout out to Sky. We appreciate all you bring to the nation. Also, I now call the O-line. Oh, and Angie says she called the O-line the meaty push. I don't know about that one. We like Mall of America. The meaty push. For those who watch my wrestling podcast, we do not do that here. We not calling it the meaty push. Sorry. Finn, appreciate you. Tacoma, Dro, TB, Miss Sharice, and Mansa Musa for the super chats. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pressing that button now. That's crazy. We gonna stick to Mall of America. Shouts out to Voch. Hey, the Lunatic dropped 2 on the way out. Said great content as always, Sky. Thank you, man. The meaty push is crazy, big A. I don't even feel right saying it. Be careful with which one, bro. We out of here. Love y'all. Peace. The meaty push. I think the females is probably saying that one, huh?
Bye.